R&B Money. We up. Tank. J Valentine. We are the authorities on all things R&B.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tank.
I'm J Valentine.
And this is the R&B Money Podcast. The authority on all things R&B.
All inclusive.
R&B is worldwide. That's why este día es muy especial porque tenemos dos hermanos
Oh, man.
His
que
Spanish is
están
better
muy
than ours.
talentosos. Trabajan con todas las estrellas. Usher,
Sí.
Janet Jackson,
Sí.
Billy Ray Cyrus. Sí. Y están aquí y vamos a hablar de todo. Make some noise for the Avila Brothers.
Yo, man.
Yeah. Wow, what an introduction.
I need that audio clip after we're done. And by the way, your Spanish is better than ours, bro.
Yeah, listen, bro. Thank you.
Man.
Thank y'all for coming,
man.
man. We do this in passing,
Yeah.
but to actually get in the space and sit down, man, and have these cool conversations, man. We
Man,
absolutely appreciate y'all coming.
This is
Beautiful.
the vibe, man. This is laid out. I feel like I'm at the crib, man.
You're rich. I had to dress it up like I was kind of rich too. I knew rich people was coming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Thank you, man. We can't thank you enough, man, for giving us your time,
Man, this is beautiful.
and we have so much ground to cover,
Man. Yeah.
with you guys. It's been
Yeah.
30 plus years, of success, shit,
Exactly. The struggle.
And
Yeah.
shit.
and shit.
Tomato cans.
Man, what? Like, where
Yeah.
do we start, Valentine? Like, where do we go? Like,
Man, I think we probably start with Pops.
Yeah.
That's
We
how
gotta start. We gotta
that's
start
where
with
it
Big
starts,
Bobby.
though.
we start with Big
Yeah.
Bobby.
That's where it
Yeah.
starts.
Yeah, I mean, man, like
Man.
y'all gotta give us the lay of the land, man, of how this thing works and how, two Latin brothers
Yeah.
Yeah.
get into this R&B thing
Yeah.
and just the journey and the challenges
Yeah.
Yeah.
of you know what I mean, because it's not like y'all were making Spanish music or Latin music or y'all was making R&B music.
That was what was in the house.
Yeah.
You know?
Start
It was-
there. Well,
yeah.
talk
So, yeah.
about the house. Give me the house.
Pops was the interesting with Pops, man, is he was a musician,
Mm-hmm.
played keys, and he was a mediocre player, but he was the guy that had the equipment, he had the gigs, he had the relationships. So he knew that he can put himself and dress himself up around great musicians because they all needed the gig.
Yeah.
Right? So he
Yeah.
was that dude. He was like, I'm gonna be in the band, y'all will be great, but I'm gonna have the relationships, I'm gonna have the gigs, I'm gonna have the work.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And so we were always around musicians in the crib. And it was black music 24/7 in our crib. There wasn't anything else. It was Earth, Wind and Fire, Shaka Khan, it was Donnie, it was all of that. So that's what we inherited. That became a part of our DNA. And as kids, they would rehearse in the garage, and our rooms were right next to the garage. And so we're like, we trying to go to bed for sleep, man. We can't sleep there, and they're jamming. So Pops would have us go in the garage, and just naturally he'd go sit by the keyboard player, and I'd go sit by the drummer. And that was like kind of how it got going
This
for us.
every night.
Yeah, every night, them rehearsing, my dad would sneak us into their clubs at the gig,
Yeah.
and he'd make us
Yeah.
us get up there and play on their break. Like, get your ass up there and go play. So, he had a vision, man. He saw something that he wanted to instill in us and just push at all costs. And
And he was crazy as hell.
he was crazy as hell. And he had an extreme tough life. I mean, we talk about this, from time to time, like the deck of cards he was dealt, he did the best he could. It's like he had the right intentions, but just did it the wrong way. But I'm 45 now, and I can look back and say, you know what, Pops, however you did it, you put music in our DNA, and we can't imagine living without music in our lives.
Of course.
You know, so
Absolutely.
there's something to be said about that type of iron fist that exists at that time in that era. Because now you see like a lack of it, and we nurturing punks now. You know what I'm saying? So there's something to be said about that dynamic, man. And that's I think his hard upbringing is what allowed us to weather the many storms that we were going to get ready to encompass through our journey.
It takes crazy.
You got to be crazy.
It takes crazy to make it in this thing.
Yeah.
It really does, man, because there's no real formal anything. And we're grabbing things out of the air that we hope that someone else likes.
Yeah, that's very true. You know,
That's fucking crazy.
Out of air.
out of
the air.
Well, you know, we talk about like, you can't just wake up and say, I'm a doctor.
At all.
You have to have a degree.
Yes.
For some reason in our craft, you could just wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I'm a producer. I'm a rap. Right? Right? Yeah. I'm an
I just
artist.
got this laptop.
I'm starting my record label. You know,
I didn't make the NFL. I'm a sing.
yeah. It's like we talk like, you know, no, you're not a producer. You're a reducer. That's what you are.
Shit.
It's like, learn your craft. And the thing is, in the game, you know, it's the last thing you did gets you to the, you know, you're only as good as your last hit.
Yeah.
So, but how do you even get there?
Yeah. But I think
The
too,
bruises.
like, looking at, you know, my dad's appetite for having this vision that he had with his kids, you know, and pushing, especially pushing Bob to where, you know, Bob's 12 years old and, you know, gets signed to RCA. You know, it's just, that was through my pops, just the way he was chiseling that rock. There was no, oh, well, Pops, we just want to go outside and hang with the fellas, play some street football. No. That shit don't mean nothing here. You get in there and you practice and you work and you work and you work. And so, you know, that mentality is what has really throughout the years kept us locked in and kept our eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I just, you know, we were kids then, man. It's like,
Where were you?
we were in Rialto, like location.
Yeah.
We were in
Rialto,
Rialto, California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's like, because I'm just like listening to the parallel between y'all and this guy.
No.
That's just,
like,
Bobby Senior was Ron New Senior.
yeah. Right.
That's right. Like, our pops were the same crazy,
just one was Spanish and one was black.
Yeah.
same mentality.
But had that drive and that hunger and that obsession.
Yeah, and it's like that, you know, it just drove greatness. And it's like my dad had such an appetite to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna make them do it.
yeah.
And I'm gonna live through them.
Live through it. Yeah.
And that's you know, that's that generation's mentality. Like at all costs.
Yeah. If it don't happen for me, it's gonna for these babies.
Yeah.
You damn sure.
And
it's
nothing
over.
else matters. You know, and that was the thing I think too with him, because my pops, he didn't get to have a childhood. You know, so
Same thing. Yeah.
here we are trying to help him understand how much we would just want to be kids too sometimes. And he was like, nah.
What the fuck is a kid?
Yeah.
Y'all grown.
Yeah, throw that shit in the closet. Throw that shit in the closet. You know.
Yeah,
But-
he was relentless.
Yeah, I mean,
is
and
relentless.
you know, nothing was shaking his direction of what he had in mind for his kids. You know.
Yeah. And I think too, one essential component to us was my dad's like best friend. And he came from Andre Crouch and the Disciples. His name was James Felix, and he too was Mexican, and he was from our area.
Man, the illest Mexican with soul you'll ever hear.
I can
Crazy.
believe it.
You'll
I can
ever
believe
hear.
Like his voice,
And he was a bass player for the Disciples.
damn near Donnie, like
Wow.
that heart,
Yeah.
that vibrato, all of that,
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
that gear, and so like they were listening to Steely Dan, Toto, bunch of Fusion, Weather Report. So we were growing up to like, this is another day. Well done. We expect you. So all of that music naturally just came to us in our spirit. So anything we touch, it just was embedded in us.
Yeah.
So, you know, with my pops and having that guy, that really got me to want to explore singing, writing, and producing. And for some reason, I just connected with technology. So I was like running SB1200, daisy chaining,
We got
MPC60, all of that.
videos of Bobby when he was like 5 and he's literally playing like Chick Corea. You know, that's how intense it was in our household with just being around great musicians.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's what we got to absorb. You know, when you're little, man, you absorb things like this, and
of course, that's the best time.
For some strange reason, you master things really quick
because you don't have nothing else to worry about. You ain't got no bills,
and you don't have any rules.
That's it. There's no bills.
You don't have any restrictions or any walls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
it's just infinite.
It's like you're an open hard drive at that time, and you're just information is coming in, and you're. I mean, Bob was like he was a genius. You know, he was doing beta testing videos, and then, I mean, got his deal, at
so how
12.
How do you get there?
The deal
right? Like
12.
I get, from the family band, your father being in the industry and you guys being around all these musicians, but how do you get to the point where it's like, okay, we've identified that we're going after a deal for Bobby?
Yeah.
Because that's literally what happened.
Yeah,
it's like,
Yeah. I mean, my dad partnered up with the guy that he knew through my uncle. And this dude was like synonymous with like writing "We Wear Short Shorts." So my dad did a whole thing and he was like, "Oh, we're gonna get him in a better studio. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z." So at the time, he knew Jerome Gasper, who was running A&M Records, and Jerome didn't know if he was going to be there or not, but he said, "Look, I'll give you guys a time in Studio A, and you guys,
at A&M.
At A&M, come up with the demo." So we did, and he ended up leaving, and they brought in John McClain. So A&M was not an option. So I had this demo, and it got in the hands of Skip Miller, RCA Records, who ran
all these legendary names,
the urban department,
the urban department,
and then Zach Voss, who ran Motown. So, man, I'm like, first of all, I didn't even know what I was doing singing in the studio, but we in the IE, we had a lot of talent. So a lot of the guys that played for like George Benson, Bootsy, there was a guy named Trey Stone who was like,
they were all from the IE.
They were all from the IE,
bro.
Inland Empire, IE. There you go.
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah. Sammy Hagar.
Why did he just bang Kenny Loggins? Kenny Loggins.
This is it. Real cats. So, there was all of these guys around. And so how did I get here? Like Motown and this and that. I was like, I was about the music. I was like, okay, when's the next Insonic coming out? Or when's, I was just really into that, the technology part of it. So next thing you know, man, I'll never forget it. I went to school and they said, you're going to be with RCA Records. I went to school. My best friend asked me to walk home with him with this girl, which I never do. So I'm walking with him, and this dude who broke out of prison, I found out later, goes and jams my boy up, hits me with a pistol, and he broke out of prison to see this girl who was this girl.
Oh, he was a young boy like y'all though.
Yeah. And I'm like,
he was just on a different type of time.
On a whole other plateau. So I'm thinking, he's got a gun. I'm never gonna make it with my dad and my mom to this, like, to get introduced to RCA Records. I'll never forget it. I don't know how I got away. I don't even remember running. It was such a daze to me. And that night, we ended up driving to the Hilton to go meet all the executives. And I see Kumo D. And I was like, wow, that's Wild Wild West, Kumo D. That's how you like me now, Kumo D.
Right.
That's Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
And I was like a massive Teddy fan. So I was like, it just became fun. From that day on, then we went to New York. It just was like, it didn't feel like anything other than just, I'm in music. I'm doing what I love, and they're making it work for me.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. That was
the real, like, okay, here comes this journey. Wheels up. And
it started there.
Started there, and then, landed a tour with New Kids on the Block.
So you got records out.
Yeah.
You got singles out.
I had singles out.
You cooking.
I was cooking. We was cooking with some gas.
And you going on the road with New Kids on the Block.
Biggest group at the time, I'm over here working out the dance routines. I'm working with all the cats in the streets. Like, let's get this show right. Because that's the beautiful thing.
This show right.
My dad, but that was the pedigree of our dad. He was like, you got to know how to talk in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get on that stage, you got to light them up.
Yeah.
So all of that was just being dumped into us. So, we had, Public Enemy in the streets at the time. We had Special Ed, all the shit that was really popping. And it was like, okay, how do we infuse this? We got to put a show together. We rehearsing in the backyard. Like, same, all that classic, just bringing it together and refining it, man. So by the time we got on the New Kids block, the stage at New Kids Tour, we was whipping ass.
I got a question, though, because I know what I got. From your record deal, what did you get? As far as, like, you personally.
Yeah.
Not what Big Bobby got.
You said it right. Well, when I was 18, I had a CD account.
No. Let's go back to 12.
No.
Okay.
But now it was only 9,000. So what I got was keep doing what you're doing, and you better do it right.
But you know what? But that's a good question though. So let's talk about let's lift up the hood on that. All right.
Yeah.
So
Come on.
There, when you got a parent who's also managing, there's also a fine line between that as a parent and a manager. And nobody teaches the game of how you're supposed to construct that.
Yeah. Coogan
So
accounts.
so you just think, well, we're family. Okay, you're growing up. I'm taking care of you. It all just comes in, and
Right.
I'm gonna go get this new Beamer. Oh, you need some Nikes? All right, well, let's just go get you some.
Right.
Yeah. It's how do you
Beamer
manage
and
that?
Nikes.
Right.
Those,
And Pops went and got himself a Beamer. Like, let's be,
and you got some Air Force
somehow
One.
it don't
Or
seem-
some Cortez.
That Nike gave to me for free because I had a record out.
But check this out. And then the parents' rebuttal is, oh, but we went on vacations. We did nice things. It's like, okay, but I should be building up some kind of reservoir tank over here with just some bread in there. So when I get to 18, I can go get it.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, like, because I love gear, right? So if anything, he wanted a studio. So we got a console. I was able to just be in the lab now. So he facilitated all of that. So my thing was like, I don't pay no bills. They're not on my dime. I don't even know what they are. I got clothes. I got food.
And
So
now
I'm
I got a studio.
just working. And I'm working like nonstop. Like day in, day out. I'm probably spending like 15 to 17 hours a day.
Wow.
And then waking up
you
thinking
getting
about
busy.
it.
You getting
And
busy.
it's just right over here in the garage.
Are you not in school anymore at this point?
Yeah,
we're
I'm
both
homeschooled.
You
homeschooled.
homeschooled,
Yeah. Both
Yeah.
homeschooled.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And my pops was crazy, man. I mean, it was toxic in the house.
And
it was crazy.
It was crazy
toxic.
as crazy as he was. I mean, my pops used to knock dudes out. My dad is only 5'6", bro.
Oh, I can see that.
5'6".
I understand the language.
But when we
I
were
understand
little,
that.
he was like
He was a giant.
giant.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
That energy.
Anything under 5'9", got a
You got
different
squabbles.
type.
Explosive.
Right.
It's got a
Firecracker.
different type of survival
Yeah.
in their
Yeah.
minds.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you start getting over 5'9", you start chilling a little bit. Like, okay,
Because your size matters a little bit.
under 5'9",
No.
leave them niggas alone, man.
They've already calculated their disadvantage.
long ago.
So they're going.
They walk around with, I'm sick of this shit.
They're going for the kill.
I wish he would.
They're going for the kill early.
Oh, you
Yeah.
ain't gonna say no to me.
dangerous.
You can't teach size, right? So the size is like it's all here.
all
It's
hard.
all in here.
Yeah.
Like,
It's all hard.
and that was his vibe. Like,
And he figured out a way how to create his concoction and pour all of that into us.
So
New
you
Kids on
going
the
to
Block.
it
Yeah,
with,
New
Kids on the Block.
with New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
Cheeks everywhere, guys. Cheeks everywhere.
All of them. They all love them.
All different,
Partaking
many
as young
shades.
men.
man, honestly, my baby and my titties lied in the MPC and the SP1200. I was so there. Like, I didn't see anything else.
So here's
I couldn't
But
see
baby,
anything
bro.
else.
oh man,
Well, he had the kid
Had
first.
to have
He
it.
had his kid first.
He had the kid
yeah,
first.
Had to have it.
I was
Kids
the
would be
first one.
talking to prostitutes on Broadway in New York,
Like-
and they would laugh at him.
I was like, but
damn,
Dad,
he's
she
gonna-
said,
What you
"Come here,
need.
son."
yeah,
What you need.
but you know,
Let me teach
one
you.
of the gems that my dad would always throw at us was, if you're ever gonna be distracted, it's gonna be through a woman.
Oh, for sure.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
So
the empire's gone.
Empires are either built or destroyed.
Yeah. So in a sense, that really kept us from going astray and wilding out.
Yeah.
We just heads down, man. In the studio.
Except when you was talking to the prostitute.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious. I was curious.
You gotta get the information.
You gotta get the information.
Listen, you know where the game comes from.
Man,
you know where the game comes from.
We signed so many titties on tour when we were kids.
Yeah. Why not?
How many cities did y'all do on New Kids?
Oh, man,
what
you know
cities was
what?
that?
We ran
through
to
the states.
Every
Major.
city
Back
in
then,
the
though,
United States.
touring was
50,
different.
60
It was different. It was different.
Yeah.
Like,
60 cities.
record reps would have me performing in
Record
nightclubs.
stores. Yep, nightclubs.
And I'm like, now I think about it because, my son's 13. They're trying to get some ass.
And
you this little
12-year-old
kid comes up playing a keyboard that
Who
they
let
set
this
up.
kid in here,
like,
man? Shit.
Oh, well, that's cute. And that's how they built. Oh, he's brewing in Philly. But he's brewing in Houston. And they go to the record stores. They're buying everything. Like, there's some sales there.
Yeah.
I'll never forget being in the hood and Nike drops off boxes for us. And we were the only ones that had like the Nike sweatsuits and we had J's, we had the ones and twos. As a kid, bro, you're saying,
Yeah.
they delivered this to you start experiencing the perks.
New York Seltzer. Man, as you say that, like New York Seltzer was one of my favorite drinks, man.
Cases show up.
Cases, like crates of that stuff. BK's coming out again.
Yep,
British
BK would
Nights.
send us stuff.
British Nights?
British Nights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love British Nights.
It was like,
crazy.
hey, we made it.
Right.
We made it.
Yeah.
So what were the challenges though? As being young, Latin,
I think,
urban department.
Yeah,
I think for Bobby at that time, it was always a challenge of how do we market this kid, right? Who's Mexican, who's doing black music, what is he, where does he go, where do we put him in, what's familiar? So, that was always a challenge, just not knowing where to place that type of talent.
Because even though, like you say, y'all rooted in R&B, but they put y'all out with New Kids on the Block. So they're already trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not like we figured out a way to throw him, get him on a New Edition tour.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out that hybrid because they always knew like the Latin space was going to be huge. That it was untapped.
Right.
And RCA, which I just found out, I forgot, they had Menudo.
I was about to say, you just gonna diss Menudo? You gonna act like they don't exist?
And
don't be acting like Menudo didn't exist, bro.
I know.
And
that's what I'm saying.
They laid some groundwork.
They
definitely
laid
some
groundwork. But even them, like
they hadn't broken into America
but
that.
But here's
yeah.
and that was a challenge
was
because
different.
they had laid the groundwork. It was like, well, is he comparable to that? Do we fit him in a little bit in that box?
Right.
And you got to look at Bob's first album cover in the back. He's literally 10 keyboards around him. I mean, he was playing everything. How do we tell
were
that
Chucky
story?
Booker.
He was
Yeah,
Chucky
exactly.
Booker.
Oh, man.
Chucky Booker.
I used to listen
You
to
were
that.
talented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Chucky's like, oh
Yeah.
man, we have a
Heavenly
bromance. I love that
Father.
dude. Yeah. That like those cats. So my grease came from a different space. So anytime it got pop or corny, I mean, it was like, that ain't me. I'm listening to Bomb Squad, Keith and Hank, Shock Lee, and Premier and PQ Harris. I'm listening to like,
You was in it.
that.
Yeah.
So when I used to, and mind you, RCA had their subsidiary or partner was Jive. So I had KRS-One, BDP, Miss Melody, Dr. Ice,
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest, and like I said, Teddy was like,
Teddy.
man,
It was Teddy.
End all
that
be
was
all.
Big Daddy Kane, Cold Chillin', Marley Marr, like that was my information. On top of Prince and the time and all of that, so I had this hybrid, and anytime it got like, well, let's just do this song in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So it's like, well, let's try to do something. And at that time, I would see how they were trying to take like Selena, put her in the pop world and try to force that. And it's like, the one thing about the black world is like, if you aren't genuine and it ain't real or authentic,
Yeah, you're not rolling.
hey,
Tomato
Yeah,
cans.
we're not rolling.
get on the other side. So the great thing, I was covered in a space that I was used to and comfortable in, so it never came off corny because it was authentic to me.
Yeah.
Which is why I always ended up in signing with the black division. So the challenge was, how do we market this? right? How do we figure out like, and he's a young kid and he's doing everything. So we don't know where to it's uncharted territory. Where do we stick him?
Yeah.
And that became a problem. Management, pops, you're not doing this, you're not doing that.
It fell apart.
It fell apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they're like, okay, we're going to put something out independent because,
you're not even in high school yet at this point.
No, I'm barely 14.
Yeah. Jesus.
That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm off of RCA Records. We're trying to get something cracking.
Nike boxes ain't showing up.
Yeah. Hey, when the lights go out, they go out.
Yeah.
But we got a new demo shopping around, and then, I'll never forget it. Capitol Records had the president hit us up and said, we want to do this deal, but we're told like not to mess with management. So it's like,
so it was management, your dad?
Dilemma. My dad.
Yeah. So management is like, instead we'll use the proper term, but your daddy.
Yeah. We'll rock with you, but we your dad, man, we can't do it. Yeah.
So we ended up putting together like a maxi single, and we were at mastering with Brian Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
At Bernie Grumman's, and he's doing his thing, and he gets a phone call, and it's Terry Lewis, and Terry's checking on a project.
And how old are you at this point?
14.
Yeah.
Okay.
14 years old, and so Terry's asking Brian, blah, 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 when's it gonna be done? Then he hears it. He's like, "Who's that?" And Brian's like, "Oh, this young kid, mastered his other album back with RCA, but he's putting out something independent." And he said, he doesn't have a deal? He was like, "No." "Well, let me find out." So hey guys, is this independent or is there a record company? Because I don't see a record company on the call sheet. He was like, "No, it's independent." I was like, "Why?" "Well, because Terry Lewis is on the phone and he likes what he hears." So I was like, the Terry Lewis?
Right.
Lifetime.
Right.
Like, it's like, Mortimer, Randolph, sell.
We're back.
Sell.
Turn those machines on.
Turn those machines on. And man, next thing you know, I'm in Minneapolis 3 weeks later.
New journey.
And that was where, Perspective was birthed.
Yeah.
Wait. So
over the phone, bro.
It starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
14 years old.
Starts with me at 14 signing me as an artist.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
then they signed me as an artist.
Yeah. Then they signed.
I was on my rhyming shit. So Bobby was doing the production. I was on my rhyming shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob gave my demo to Jam. And Jam has this term, they call it drive off the road music. So he heard my stuff, called and was like, "Yo, this is drive off the road music."
Terry, get his brother too.
Get his brother too.
Yeah.
So now I'm out there and it's, new journey, man. Whole new.
And how old are you at this time?
I'm
He's 12 going on 13 because I'm turning 15.
It's crazy.
And so this
Crazy,
is,
right?
This
Bring
is,
the young fellas. Come on.
But this was a crazy thing. So, I fly out there to go start working on my solo record, and you get the tour, it's like Sounds of Blackness is rehearsing in the back. Mint Conditions coming in and out, just kind of checking on things. Steve Hodge, who mixed all of Jimmy and Terry stuff, just agreed to move out to Minneapolis to just mix in-house. So I'm like,
it's a factor.
this is everybody that
fierce.
That I love. And, Johnny Gill's on his way up, and I'm like, wow, okay. I had no fear, but it was like, you think you're ready sometimes, like, oh, I got it. And a lot of times you aren't. And I think just the pressure that my pops always put on me, I just didn't have no fear. And it's like, cool, it's prime time. You gotta show up, fold or focus.
And it was a different creative machine at Flytime. There was no looping or anything. I mean, you came in there, they said, the way we make records, you play from top to bottom.
You play from top to bottom.
You play from top to bottom.
And not only sing, but you play.
You play from top to bottom. And Terry had this thing where it's like no song should sound the same way it ends. So his thing was always dynamics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And, and a lot of people don't realize, like when you listen to the Jam and Lewis records, when you hear those turnarounds on the drums and stuff, that's all Jam doing it live. All that stuff, man, it's like top to bottom.
Yeah, that was a school.
You do your passive keys, top to bottom. You do your passive bass, top to bottom. You do your turnaround drum fills.
Yeah, it was all talked about, and the thing that they loved was I was self-contained. So they were like, stick Bobby in Studio C, and I cooked, and everything I would cook, it was like, okay, Terry would come in, he'd write, and I was getting coached vocally from the guy, and
Terry would spend like 2 hours on one line. That's how.
Yeah, he was relentless. You do like a masters and a slave reel, and you had 24 tracks to just do all these vocals and keep 4 and comp. So after that, it was like T was like, "Hey, we got a remix for Mo Money soundtrack. You want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, cool." Yeah. And it was just we were spitting it out on top of working the record. So when I started doing that, I was like, my brother, we got some crazy joints on him. So I gave it to Jam, and that happened. So everything started progressing at that time.
Quick too.
Very fast.
So is your dad with y'all?
My dad's with me. And Terry for me was incredible because I started living with Terry. And he saw the friction. And Terry knew crazy and he knew karate. Like he knew how that shit worked. Yeah. And he was like, "Pops, man, go cool out, go see a movie. I got this." All right, and what are you going to tell Terry?
Yeah, right. And
that was the thing, right? When you would tell him,
he became the buffer.
He was a buffer.
But he also understood my dad's component, and he respected it. Like, and Terry would always say, like, I'll always respect your dad because I get it, But and I think when I got signed, my joint ended up coming out before Bob's. And now I'm running at the Gavin convention, all that stuff when that was around in the Bay. We put out the record. Next thing I know, Pete Rock's doing a remix. So it was like that's crazy. On and cracking.
Yeah, it was. I think that's what made the relationship, incredible with Terry. Because, I say this for anybody. Like, I want you to know my truth. My shit was nasty. My first picture was I had a cast on with Janet Jackson and Jamet Lewis. My dad was crazy, right? So when I'm in the studio and I can't really write like I want to write, that birthed Big Jim Wright.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do everything I wanted to do until my hand healed because of Pops. So that birthed Big Jim as a songwriter producer, which ultimately went to I Get So Lonely, Yolanda Adams Opened My Heart. So that opened up a door for him in the camp. So that's how crazy it was. And having Terry in our lives was like, that's how, important it was.
Because y'all was already part of the writing and producing team.
No, I was signed as an artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then my joint started taking off, and then out of nowhere, man, it came crumbling down because of my pops. My pops was yelling at people at Perspective, and they just saw it as, it was just a hindrance to moving things forward. And he's working on his album there.
Right.
And so it just...
One of my guys always tells me, my brother Problem always tells me, he says, sometimes the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, man, that's a great way to put it, because that's exactly how it felt to me when it just came to a halt. I just said, okay, let me go on and let me take my ass to high school. Let me be around some folks.
You still that young at that
point.
Yeah.
So I went to 10th grade is when I went back to school.
In Minneapolis?
Back here in Cali.
You came back?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once it stopped,
You got to go home.
Once it stopped, I was cool, man. And even at that time, I started to look at things with a different perspective when it came to music in our family. I said, okay, we're paying the cost now to love this thing called music because it's taking a toll on the family. Mm-hmm. And I had no appetite for it, man. I went back to school. Bob stayed in Minnie, and Bob was faced with an ultimatum. Hey, Bob, it's either you're going to stay here on Perspective or you're going to run with your pops. That's how much chaos it was coming.
It was crazy. I mean, when Norman Winters, who like synonymous as a publicist for Off the Wall and Elton John and all of these.
Every name you name and I know.
You were in it too.
Yeah.
It was like, they had to fly me out by myself. And so I'll never forget it. I was in the car with Terry and we're driving to the studio and he was like, hey, Bob, I know this is tough and I know it's crazy, but can't deal with Pops right now. And you're going to have to figure out what you want to do. And he said, artists come and go and they have their time. But the ability you have is like me and Jam. And it's even better because it's all you. You can have a career as a songwriter and a producer and a musician and write for others. And I knew what he was telling me. When I go back home, it's a no-win for me because if I stay, it's got to be without him. And if I don't, it's with him still. And it's like, it's tough, right? It was really tough. So, I made the decision. I was like, at this time, 16 going on 17. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and like Terry said, you got to live there, boy. You got to live there. So you have to be happy too, in whatever way that means to you. So I was like, well, I'm off of perspective then.
Came home.
Shit.
Yep. So
done.
And back to square one, fellas.
That mountain I just got done climbing.
Back
I gotta
to
go
square
right
one.
Back up again.
Back to square one, man.
Fuck.
Yeah. This was crazy, man.
And do you go back to school? You go do the same thing too?
He stayed on. It was independent studies. He graduated. But stayed back in the garage cooking.
Cooking, man.
I'm at high school, and I'm getting ready to finish high school. Man, I go get me a job. I work at Best Buy.
Yeah.
And
discount TV.
Did you get a couple of electronics?
What was it? EPPI? Was it?
PPI, yeah. It was warranties. We sold the hell out of warranties.
You know
So and that's the thing, because we're talking all walks of life of what we've experienced.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it was, the road of like poke your chest out, that's only been alive for us for like 15 years, but the journey's been 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I think too, just the being in the game, because we even did talk about like, while I was cooking for him, I was cooking for, he started with me, Skilo.
mm-hmm.
I wish it was a little bit taller. I produced him like back when I was 14.
Pops managed him.
My dad managed him.
Yeah.
There was a girl, Dominique. So I was like the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I was like Teddy
he
in
was
Harlem.
Chef Boyardee.
I was like cooking for everybody.
Yeah.
So I had this like all of this in me, and I'm going from deal to deal, and it's like you're getting tossed around everywhere. And the older I got, I was a guy that always liked information. I loved to learn.
Yeah.
So I would talk to executives. I would talk to guys around me who've been in the game, trying to figure out business plans. Because man, I think I might need to do something by myself. And my dad was relentless, and so he was like, "We got to do another record because when the window moves. If you're not in it, you got to hurry up because they forget who you are." So we put a record out. I did a remake of Al Green's "Let's Stay Together," and we put it out independently, and we got a lot of love. Baker Boys at the time were hot in Power 106, and those were our guys. Mm-hmm. So they got that record to #1. So I'm back. I'm not in the chitlin circuit or the burrito circuit. I'm like prime time now. So I'm doing
either the chitlin circuit or the burrito circuit.
Yeah, I love it.
Right? Just I'm opening up for the same guys, the Tonys and everybody, and at one point, man, it was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not loving it, but I still love it. Like, I got to be alone.
Yeah.
And we had somebody in the family that was like, man, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of your house. You got to, there's God got something for you different. And man, God put some great people around me. I ended up living with a friend of ours who was actually kind of working with us at the time in music with my dad. And that same guy, Norman Winters, called him. And I said, hey man, I would love to talk to you. Come to the office. And it just, because I had nothing at that point. I was, I had $9,000 and I'm 18 and I left the house with no bitter heart, but just the one thing that I loved the most more than myself was music. So I got to keep going for it. Not to be popular, just to have a career and do what I love to do. So I had the mindset of like, well, go get the information. And Norman Winters showed me a whole nother life of marketing, showed me a whole nother life of branding. And I was like, this is why these record companies didn't get it. And he told me, I couldn't work with your manager and your father. And that's what prohibited me to continue. He said, you have that thing. And I know you have that thing because I found Elton John and they took Elton John from me. And I'm going to help you. So, man, I'm in this different world now at this point. And I'm trying to rebuild. I'm learning corporation talk. I'm learning how to get structure and all of these
business
things.
plans, how to put that
how
together.
to put business plans together. Trying to learn every facet of the game the way that I have been learning it as a musician. I'm just trying to understand what the business is like. Because the easiest part we always say is making the music. It's the easiest part. It's when you have to hand that craft of that baby over. It's like,
yeah, where does it go from there?
Like, everybody goes, oh, well, I got a hit. No, you don't. Yeah. They're going to tell you what you really have.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I went on that journey and it was tough, man. I was alone. And
then I finally left the crib.
Yeah, he left the crib.
So I'm like, all right, bro, let's go. You know,
let's start it up again. So then at that point, it became, I'm not going to be an artist. I'm going to be that guy that Terry Lewis told me in that truck.
So let me ask you a question. As you're deciding to leave the house, in both situations, is that a conversation with your father? Like,
no, they're actually through fallouts. Like we were actually, I remember it clear as day. The day he left, we literally got done. We were doing grad night at Disneyland. We were the band for grad night.
Oh wow, okay.
With the group we started, DW3.
DW3 we started. So I'm literally leaving high school, like my dad's school, go do the gig, get home at like 5 a.m., go back to school the next day. Like that's the grind it was. And so I think it was on our last gig at Disneyland, we were in the car with my pops. Pops driving us home. And Bobby was like, I'm done, I'm leaving. And man, that was the longest ride home.
No, it's not too far. At 5 o'clock, you could get there back home. It's like 30 minutes. But
and it was like
time stopped.
Man, how could you betray me? All this, I put years. I mean, it was that classic, oh shit, the lid just blew off, right?
Yeah.
How could you do this to me after all we've been through? Like, easy, I'm out.
And that was the start of his exit. And mine came shortly after. I would come home and I just hear my dad cursing my brother like, your brother's never, and one day I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, man, how long are you going to talk about your son that way? Like, get over it, man. Move on. And I couldn't take it no more. And I had my blowout with him. And I was like, bro, come pick me up. I'm out.
Wow.
And, you know, just couldn't take it anymore, man. You know, it became poison. It became, my dad was bitter. My dad was, you know, telling people that, you know, oh yeah, he left me with nothing. And, you know, just the classic story, you know, and I'll never forget being on the phone with my pops at some point after that and him telling me, you know, yeah, whatever you and your brother think you're going to do, you're going to fail without me. Just watch. And so, you know, that became, you know, fuel, you know, and what's crazy, because we haven't said yet, but we're so close with our mom. Our mom is like our rock to everything. And so
the glue,
because of the turmoil with my pops, I remember not even coming around for at least a year or two because of my dad. And so for us to not see our mom like was crazy, you know, and I mean, the air was thick for, I want to say at least 4 to 5 years where we just couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't do it. Couldn't be around him. Didn't want to see him. Didn't want to hear from him. And, you know, it's like, well, you know, we can't use that as an excuse. We got to get out here and get in the trenches and go get it. And, you know, once I graduated, I was doing these side gigs with an engineer we had met during some of my sessions, and his name was D-Style. And D-Style was working with a you know, a new artist at the time who was Macy Gray. And he would bring me in. He would bring me in to do drums. You know, so I had my this kit that I still have. Had it since I was 5 years old, but it had a spirit on it, right? It was all beat up, raggedy. I used to take it apart. I used to try to get it to sound like James Brown's drummer. And it just had a spirit. So D loved the way it sounded, and he loved that I played hip hop grooves. So he'd bring me in and I'd start doing these sessions for Macy. And one thing led to another. She was like, you need to come out on the road with me. And I was like, shit, I'm broke. Let's go. Like, and we had just got our apartment. So I was like, bro.
Are y'all still in the IE or do y'all?
We're still in the IE.
We're still in the IE.
And
I was like,
yeah, because the premise of being in the IE was I'm never going to lose myself in LA.
Yeah.
Because it's too crazy, right?
Yeah.
And Prince thought the same way about Minneapolis. Why live in Minneapolis? And he would say, to keep all the bad people away. And that was the concept, to just protect who you are.
Yeah, that's home front. It's
on all fronts. So we did everything in the IE. We built studios out there. Our new partners would come from the IE.
I graduated from Ike. Shout out to Ike.
I think it was like, let's protect this here, and then we'll go out to the world.
Yeah. So y'all doing all this from the Inland Empire,
all of it, bro.
And are you at this point just completely focusing on writing and producing?
We're focusing on it all.
Oh, yeah. Where can we get a check?
Where can we get a check? Partnerships, opportunities, music, songs, publishing. Okay.
So Iz had went out with Macy Gray. At that time I was still on my, we had met Ice-T through a friend of ours. And so I ended up doing records for for him, Spice One, the Loonies.
Yeah.
You had the Alcoholics, J-Ro.
At this point, what are y'all charging a track?
Man, whatever we can get.
We're like $2,500. Man, $5,000. We made it.
But you say it almost like,
asking.
Maybe you'll give it to me.
Yeah.
How much y'all want for
exactly. Man,
3,000.
Yeah, exactly. And we hear the deals like, oh man, we got 200 for this. I'd be like,
crazy.
Damn. Like, really?
Right.
Like, because now I'm understanding. Bills are always on time.
Always. The gas man's never late.
And now there is bills.
Yeah.
So Iz gets a gig and it's like, hey, bro, go do your thing. I'm learning.
And this is the first time we're about to be apart like that.
So you're 18, about to go play drums
around the world.
Around the world, because Macy Gray is global.
A world.
Yeah.
She's world.
And for me, it was like my first tour as a drummer.
Yeah.
Having a tech, because she had all the white folks, so shit was right.
Different.
Shit was laid out, right?
Yeah. So you had a guy coming up to you, sir,
how do you want your stereo?
Right.
Your bass mic.
I'm your tech.
I'll call Zildjian for you. We'll get you some.
I'll let you know when it's all together to come out.
Yeah, and here's what's crazy.
Exactly.
And what's crazy about that, for some strange reason, prior to that opportunity, I had just got cases for I had a red Yamaha kit. So I had just got cases.
Mm-hmm. And
so my thing was like, okay, if I get some drum work, studio work, like that's bread for us, we just, we're piecemealing things, right? So, I got that opportunity, and that really, being around the road, I had an MPC 3000 with me.
As you should.
And so I started this regiment. Every city I went to, I'd go to the local record store, and I'd bring back vinyl. And for me, this was like, now this is like, okay, my journey. Like, I got to figure shit out. Right?
Yeah.
So that was the birth of who I became, outside of just, what I was doing at the time was like, putting the shows together, getting his show right and all that. And so here I am, man. I'm like, okay, starting to figure things out, starting to create. And when I came back off the road, I came back as a beast.
Yeah.
And it was perfect timing, because we got to a point, Bob was tired, man.
Yeah, I got tired.
He was tired, right? So I came back off the road, got a record for 4th Avenue Jones. I got Bishop Lamont. I got all these cats. And so that was really like the unification of what the Avila Brothers were going to become. Because now I'm coming back with cannons.
And in this time, while he's out, we meet Buster and Shivani, producers who had, at the time, Kirk Franklin, God's Property. So we're at a studio that this saxophone player, Trevor Lawrence, had owned. It's called Blue Palm. So out of the blue, I'm in the hallway playing this Wurlitzer, and Shivani walks out of the studio that they had, and he's like, "Who are you?" And I used to get that all the time, like, "Oh, hey man, just jamming." And he was like, "Wow, what do you do? Do you sing?" I was like, "Yeah, can you sing something for me?" I was like, "Oh, here we go." The frog tap dancing again. Like, oh man, like,
you was definitely tired.
Yeah, I was tired. I was like, man, get that out of here, man. Like, and I'm like, who are you? Yeah, we have this record, God's Property. So for me, when anybody talked about gospel music, I'd be like, I came from the DNA of Andre Crouch. So who God's Property? Okay.
We like Kirk Franklin. All right.
Ain't the Winans or like, Commission. Like, I get it. Cool. So we left that day. We're going to another studio in San Diego, and they were like, we exchanged numbers and they kept calling. Because they were just working, they were getting ready to work on this movie called Prince of Egypt for DreamWorks. And they were like, you don't know this, but we were praying for a Latin artist. We watched this movie, Selena, and we wanted to find that Latin artist, and we walked outside and you were right there. I was like, yeah, cute story, man. I've been to church too. I've heard the story.
I
You over here with
pimping when I hear.
Exactly. When's the tithing cup gonna come out? I was like, I wasn't feeling it. Because at that time I was really like, I'm gonna just move steady and produce. That's the foundation. I'm learning marketing, I'm learning, radio game. I'm with Ricky Lee, who started the mix show world. I got information out. I'm doing things. I know how to get some money out of these broadcasting companies that I'm with, BMI. I'm struggling. Can you help me? Norman taught me all the ropes. So they were adamant and just kept pressing. And then, I do this demo, a song called Father that Brian McKnight did for Prince of Egypt. And, I didn't end up on it. So it was just like, whatever, So we started clicking, and this guy, Chris Swartz, who owned Rough House Records, started a new label, Rough Nation. So Rough House was, the Fugees, Cypress Hill, Criss Cross.
Outsiders.
Like, he was, it was what it was at that time, and they were huge. So he had this deal with Warner Brothers. And so it was Shivani's, one of his closest friends, because it was based in Philly. So he said, look, man, we got an opportunity, like, to maybe, if you want to do an album. And man, I did everything that I could to just not do it.
To not do it.
We'll give you 25. I need 50. 50, okay. We'll give you 10 points. I need 20. What? And it just became, after a while, like, deal's done.
Yeah.
And so he's coming back.
I literally getting off the road while he's getting ready to start his album.
And so I was like, I see things different. And what I did at that time was I had this marketing plan that I came up with. And I tackled radio a certain way, and I tackled how technology would be a bridge to fulfill a void. And it's going to be through music. It's going to be this way. And I just had this template, and I just stuck to that. Because I started figuring out what the record companies weren't getting right with me. And I said, one point in time, when I can arrive, I'm going to take all of this. It's going to mean something, but it ain't going to mean nothing with these guys. And eventually, when he got back, I said, Warner Brothers wants me. They're looking for me. And the deal actually was going to just be it was out. And I called him. I said, look, I'll do it. I'll do the deal. So, okay, I'm back in the artist thing again, which is like, it's heartbreaking as an artist.
And this is deal number what?
This is deal like number 5.
Yeah.
It's like to muster the energy and the love and get that spirit back. It takes a lot, because you're rebuilding all over again. And I wasn't happy going into the deal. I still had my reservations, but I'm like, I have to do this. And then Iz came back, like, I was a crate digger. I was a guy getting, going to beat nonstop, street sounds, crate digging. I was that guy on the turntable. Iz came back from the tour, like, how'd you come back DJ Muggs and Premier and Pete Rock all in one? And you're making songs.
Yeah.
Not just beats. So I was like, okay, by that time I started picking up bass. I was learning other instruments. So, like, we really had some gears.
Yeah.
So we started working with Buster Shivani on my solo project. And man, things were just aligning. Like, I found myself in Philly, and I was meeting James Poison for the first time, and then they took me to Touch of Jazz, and you know, Philly's very like, yo, you don't come into Philly, and you Mexican.
You gotta be right
no.
to Philly.
Get his ass out of here.
Here's
Like,
the crazy thing. We were cooking at such a high level. And I remember we had finished the album and we went out to Touch of Jazz in Philly. We up in there, Dilla's there. So everybody's kind of gung shy with playing their music because Dilla's in the building, right? Dilla's in his fur coat, playing just.
He in there with the fur on too.
He's in there. He's in there slapping fools.
super glossy.
Slapping fools, pushing play on everybody. And we were so confident in what we had created. We're like, cool. Hey man, play running. Play running, you know? And we play our records and man, everybody's like, who the hell?
And see,
the two Mexican niggas.
but see, they didn't know Jazzy Jeff knew me from back in the day, like D9.
From RCA Ensemble, yeah.
Because I was signed at RCA, so that's where, you know, Will and Jazzy was.
So Jeff probably in the back like,
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. Yeah, and it's like, you know, at that time we developed a great relationship with Sway. And, you know, he was on the cusp at MTV.
Mm-hmm. We did a sample. We
Sway
actually
King Tech.
Bobby's sampler that we did had Sway introducing Bob. So I mean, it had all the right components to it. So
we was ready, man. We was revved. I was like, oh, maybe this is the time, right?
Maybe this is the time.
All the ducks were in a row. I had this record. I played talkbox, so you know Roger Troutman.
Of course, you play talkbox.
Yeah, that was family. They're from Dayton, Ohio, so I was close with them. You know, growing up, and Charlie Wilson. So I was in all of that world at a young age. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this record, because they were like, how do we make a record for Latins? And it's like, no, you don't do a record in Spanish. You hit with some zap. That's how you, because you would have thought Roger was Mexican.
We had Eric Sermon on it. Yeah. I mean, it was.
So all these things, Demet Guidry was in Pocket at that time, and it was like, damn, it
couldn't go wrong. You know, we had the president of the label on board. You know, everything was the way we always wanted it to be from the top down. Mm-hmm. Everybody's gung ho about the record. Let's go. Well, guys. That guy's transitioning out. New guy's coming in.
Beginning has an end.
Yeah.
And man.
So the president
transitioned out.
President left.
New cat came in. Tom Wally.
Tom Wally came in from Interscope.
Yeah. And it was this thing where the record was such a hot commodity at the label that anybody that came in who was foreign to it and didn't feel like it was a part of theirs, they didn't, it's like, oh yeah, that's not really our thing, this new regime.
It's the new coach.
Yeah, new coach. And no matter, the stars had been aligned, right? So it's a layup for the next guy, but we know how the game is. I can't take credit for it. If it's successful, then, there's going to be things that have to happen behind closed doors, business affairs, money's got to go here. It was going to be messy. Yeah.
So somebody has to get
that
override and then points that just magically go somewhere else.
You already know, it's, the egg gets on my face.
Someone else's bonus.
But here's the thing. Being that who we are, being just chameleons in the game, while all that's going on, I'm still doing my gigs with Macy, and we do this thing. They're honoring Janet, so Macy gets a slot to perform. Like, yo, Bob, they want you on Oregon. Come play with us. So we do this gig. Jimmy and Terry are there, and it's a way for us to reconnect with Jimmy and Terry.
Wow!
So Bob gives Jam a CD of all our heat rocks,
and it's been how many years?
It's been a minute. We talk, but being out there with them or that kind of connection. It's different
when you see each other.
Yeah. It was it was a long time. So I give Jam the CD. The CD just doesn't work. I never hear from him. So my spidey senses had told me my deals get ready to come to an end. And I wrote Terry a letter and Jimmy. And I said, look, I gave Jimmy a record that I just finished. It's my solo project. If you're trying to cross a bridge, we are too. It's now me and Iz. And if you have anything available for us to work on, we love to come and be a part with you guys of the family again, but different.
Yeah.
And
then the phone rings and we heard some Drive Off the Road music.
Yeah.
Right?
Instant.
Yeah.
I mean, Terry called me like
instantly.
Man, it was like it was.
We got on a three-way,
so
man. And he was
uplifting,
just
man.
like, I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And that was okay. Wheels up again. New journey. You know, and so Terry's like, man, you guys got to come. We got a couple artists in house. We got this group, male group, Morris and Slick. We got female artists. So we get out to Minnesota, back again, and it feels familiar, feels like family.
Terry's traveling. He's no longer in Minneapolis.
He's in Atlanta.
He's
actually.
doing like working on Fighting Temptations at the time.
Yeah.
And Terry's like, Terry's got incredible vision. So he's feeling something different. And it's not in Minnesota. Jam's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And their group Morrison and Slick loved what we were doing. And we flew out there, we knocked 2 joints out. And the difference this time is, being with Jimmy Jam. Jimmy ran the asylum. Like that was, like no one touched Janet. No, Jimmy was like, that was it.
And we just real quick, we always talk about there's a difference between Terry Lewis's embrace and Jimmy Jam's embrace.
Okay.
Just different dynamics, and back in that time, I mean, Jam was one of those cats where you didn't go in his room. He didn't play no music for you. I mean, you only really got called if Jam actually personally came out and said, come in the room. Terry was in the trenches. He's moving. He's out here just, shaking and baking, writing records like it's nothing, But Terry was more open, but still in a like, not on some bull, but just real straightforward, but different. So here we are. Now we're back in Mini, but now we're back in Mini with Jam.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different thing for us, right? So it's like, okay, but we get in there and Jam's like, hey, I want you guys to work on Janet with me.
Oof.
And we're like, let's go.
Cold tap on the shoulder.
Yeah. Cold tap on the shoulder, right?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Want y'all to work. And so we start cooking. I think we sent the joint to T, and at that, I think it was a record he called Gypsy. And we just started cooking. We were like, okay, what's the concept? And then I remember Jam he brought out Dre and Vidal. So it was like, okay, we're going to create this competitive, experience here at Flight Time and see who rises to the top. So funny stories, man. Like here we are, we're linking back up with Dre and Vidal. Dre and Vidal remembered us from Touch of Jazz when we were playing his record in Philly. So here we go. Survival of the fittest, right? So we're like, oh man, that shit's trash. We got that. So we're cooking. And we hit it off with them as brothers, man. Like Bob starts licking them on dice. Like,
he's like, we start playing dice. I know how to pad roll, bro. You don't play with me. So, I was in the hood with the real ones.
So man, Flight Time.
Don't play with me.
At the old Flight Time, they had a pool table in the game room, right? So
bite them.
They're rolling dice, and Bob's taking all their per diem. I tell you, we joke about it still to this day. And
they borrow money from you.
And like, man, Bob's taking all their bread, and Dre's like, yo, Iz, man, can you loan me? I'm like, here you go, man. So they're playing it, and through that, man, we became really close, man. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, shoot, we're here together, man. Let's try to cook the best we can.
Yeah,
it's a great opportunity for all of us.
And imagine how great just being there, right? Janet and all that. We're in a room. My lawyer calls me. My manager calls me at the time, and he goes, hey, well, I got good news. I was like, what is it? He goes, well, the label's dropping you, and
they're giving you the record.
They're going to give you a record. You could do whatever you want with the record. So, man, I know you're up there with Jimmy and Terry. Man, I got off the phone, and I was like, I looked at Iz, and I was like, he knew I had that look.
And I can tell you.
And I was older at this time now.
And I can tell you better than he can tell about himself. When I saw my brother walk out of the bathroom, his spirit was done. He was broke.
Yeah, I was like, God, why do you give this to me?
There was no...
I can't do this no more. And mind you, I'm walking out, get ready to do... I'm with Janet. Shit didn't matter.
Yeah, you rather be like, I'm stuck in some deal. Instead of it being like, oh, I'm free and I have it and I can do it again if I want. Yeah.
And I was like, I cried. I was like, Lord, man, you gave me this just to stomp, like...
Broke him.
I was done. So...
And and it's just to give you an idea. I mean, we've been through our moments of whether it was through Pops or whatever, but when I saw my brother's face and I saw just his eyes literally swollen from crying in the bathroom, because I knew what's crazy is I knew what was going on in that bathroom with my brother. I knew exactly what it was. And so when he came out, he just had no more to give. And I looked at my brother and I said, you know what, bro? Now it's time for you to hop on my back. I got you. I got you.
And he gave me this one line like, hey, we just got to go. We just got to go. So he walked to the other room and I did this record, Spending Time With You for Janet, like maybe in like 30 minutes. And that would ultimately end up on Demeter Joe. And that record just always had that thing because it took me, you know, music always takes you to a point in time and place that you can always remember, right? Yeah. So it started there. Then I found myself like, okay, let me embrace this. I got ears. I don't have to carry it like that anymore. I can continue to think and strategize and then be creative. And being with the guys, I felt safe.
Yeah.
And what I loved about being there with them at that time was I found out later that Jimmy sat the production staff who were on Flight Time. He sat them down and made them listen to my record, top to bottom. And at the end, he said, guess who that is? And they were like, Big Jim was trying to figure it out. Prof T, who was from Low Key, was one of their staff writers as well. And another guy, Alex Richburg. And they were like, we don't know who this is. And Jimmy stood up and he said, it's Bobby. Bobby Ross Avila. And just walked out. So that let me know like, wow, it made an impact on Jam like that. And we developed such a great relationship and close relationship where we were fishing with Steve Hodge in Wisconsin. Like it became like,
it really became family.
Should we be out here? So Jam was like, you guys, we should move out here. So he went and got his real estate guy.
Yeah, we were looking at places to stay.
Terry's traveling. And mind you, I get this call like at 10 o'clock in the morning and Terry's like, it's Terry. He goes, hey, what's up? What's up, Bob? B. Ross T. Spumante. What's going on? I said, oh, everything's great out here, T. He's like,
you got my partners there.
You got my partners there. And you know, that's hard to get.
Yeah.
He said, how you liking it? I said, I feel safety and I love it, you know, and we're talking about moving out here. He's, ooh, whoa, wait,
don't do that yet.
I have some ideas.
Yeah.
Let me get back into town. So make a long story short, he gets back in town and, you know.
But we can't skip a step because we're making a little bit of money.
No, I was getting ready to say that. So this Morrison slick check we get.
Yeah.
Now it's $15,000 for just half of the song.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and it's Christmas time, right? So we're like,
it's always Christmas time.
Now it's time to get some rims.
when you got money,
Need
it's
some
always
rims.
Christmas time.
we're sitting at the table like, fiddles.
Yeah.
Fiddles.
and so, you know, we're getting a little bread and, you know, Christmas has always been a favorite time. Me and my
everybody.
especially because our mom.
It'd be like Santa came and had an orgasm at the crib every Christmas time.
And that really came from my mom because that's something my mom used to do with us when we were kids. And so, you know, we got a little bread now. We're like, okay, man, let's go get a cabin in Big Bear and let's have the family with us or whatever, you know? So, you know, and we still now do that to this day. We get a cabin every year from Christmas, but it all spawned from being back in a point in our lives. We're like, okay, we can finally eat a little, you know? And so let's get the family together. So Terry calls us, we're chilling in Big Bear and calls us up, man. We're just chopping it up. And he's like, you know, I'm going to shut Flight Time down out here. What do you guys think? And we're like, first thing we thought was, well, how are you going to, you know, he's like, I want to bring it to the West Coast. And we're like, well, how are you going to get Jam to sell his castle? Is he coming?
We'll work on that.
And we're like, all right, cool. You know, for us, we're like, you know, because mind you, we were getting ready to adjust our mindset to now living back in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So now he's bringing it to Cali. We're like, cool, we'll be around our fam. All right, cool, that's easier. So Terry was like, you know anybody that builds studios? And we were like, we do. A good person we met along the way was Jack, who built Ice-T studio at the top of the mountain. So we were like, we actually do. We got a cat that can put something dope together. So okay, well, when I get out there, I want to come meet with him. All right, so in the meantime, we started doing a lot of work now at Marvin's room on Sunset. So that was like our intermediate spot until we figured out the studio thing. And then we went from Marvin's room to the Village Recorder in Santa Monica. Yeah. So, you know, getting all the pieces together. And while that's going on, you know, Terry's out here, you know, meeting with, you know, contractors and, you know, looking at places where we can build a studio. And so finds a location. And mind you, this is all happening while now the gas is on the fire. Now we're at the Village. We're doing.
We're finishing Janet. We're finishing Janet. We're
trying to finish her.
We're trying to finish her. Yeah. We start with Maya. We did the Mood Ring, I think.
We did 2 joints on the Mood Ring.
Yeah,
we did Fighting Temptations. And, you know, I'm going to say through this process, what was great for me was Terry trusted me at a high level to to be an advisor, to ask me questions, and really trusted where I was at. And to me, that gave me a whole nother kind of confidence. Yeah. Because that, for Terry, it's like his principles are you could either work on inspiration, which is always the best place to work on or work with. But then you have to be able to work on demand.
Yep.
So Terry's testing the waters. He's got everybody coming through, Yolanda Adams. And in the midst of working with Janet, you know, Jam would be flying in and out. And we'd be cooking nonstop. This person's coming in. All right. Me and Iz were like,
I'll tell you,
cooking.
I had a room at the Village. They called it the Nino Brown room because I had all these blaxploitation posters in my room, and I have vinyl and drum machines. And it's like how Bob talks about his time as a kid. It was now my time, and I'm in this spaceship. I'm flying to Mars. I'm on Saturn. I'm just truth hurts. That's what it's made for. Demeter.
Yeah, but
Joe,
but you can't even spill that out yet. So before he even got to that, while we were working on my record, there was this track that he had.
Yeah. Truth hurts.
And I was like, weird thing, like, I don't even like his, but he's great at what he does. That kind of feels like Usher. So in the midst of us working with Janet at the Village, Terry said, Usher's coming down and what, you guys got something? I was like, I looked at Izzy. I was like, we had did that. He did the track, and we had put the CD together with that track on it.
Which track?
Truth hurts.
Truth hurts. Yeah. It was like two or 3 years before that even. Like
it might have been 4 because it might have been.
It might have been 4.
Yeah. And what's crazy is this is how we were always thinking outside the box. We had a warehouse in Rancho where we were doing screen printing. We were doing shirts and everything. And we had studios in there.
Y'all are real Mexicans.
Hey, man,
We're real Mexicans.
Oh, Brandy, right? So if you want to see the Avila Brothers, we got our Avila Brothers shirts. Like, yo, we came in with it.
But that was the thing for us. It's
The
like,
real
yo,
hustle.
Right?
Real hustle, bro.
Real hustlers, man.
We and that's the way we thought. It's like, okay, we got to have, shirts. We do that. We have our
screen printing.
We were
Jamaican, man. We're Mexican and Jamaican. We got coke now. We got weed more.
But that was the mentality back then. It was like, man, let's put these pieces together. And I had a little room in the warehouse, and I remember linking back up with some friends from high school. They had a rap group. I was like, oh, let me do a joint. So that joint was actually the track that became Truth Hurts. And Bob had called it back then. He was like, man, that sounds like a Usher record or something that
you did for a rap group.
A rap group. Yeah. So fast forward to 4 years when we started, when we met him at the Village when we were getting ready to work on Confessions. And Bob was like, yo, here's that one, get him that one joint. So we gave him a CD, and that's when it just...
First thing he said, Truth Hurts.
Yep.
And it was like, there it is.
There it is. And I remember we were rattling that building so tough. Every artist that came through was like, yo, can I get a Truth Hurts?
Yeah,
like,
New Edition came by.
New Edition came.
Working with them
Janet
too.
was like, oh, she needs a Truth Hurts. It's like, no, like.
So tell me this, because you said there were people who were like staff writers, Yeah. Would you guys mind giving us the business of how that worked? As far as like, because you said now y'all were seeing production fees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there have been other teams that people don't really get those type of things or don't really get those, that notoriety from doing those things.
Yeah. Especially if you're signed to.
Yeah, especially if you're signed,
produce.
you're signed to produce. And and at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't. How do you ask a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis? Yeah,
My fee is normal.
Well, I did.
That's true. and here's the thing. I think too. Like one thing I will say with Jimmy and Terry is they really loved us, man. They really looked at us not as just a tool, not as just something that could, bring them a hit. But Terry really fell in love with us as kids, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby lived with him, and when it got to that time, I mean, it was very simple. It was different because everybody that was on staff got a salary.
Okay.
Me and Bob, it was different. It was like, no, it's like whatever we went out and hunt and shot and brought to the table, that's when we eat. And so, but Terry understood our place and he always wanted to make sure that, no. Whatever you guys do, make sure it's branded as the Avila Brothers too. So we never had problems with credits, publishing. Terry, like
shout
I said,
out
man,
to Jimmy and Terry.
Shout out,
but that's
man.
what I'm saying. Like,
Because that's
Terry,
not normal.
It's not
It's
normal.
It's not normal.
We
all in this music business, and that's why we like to give the information.
Yeah.
And we like for people to understand, like, it don't always work that way.
It never works
It
that
don't.
way.
Terry had offered me a publishing deal, and it just wasn't for me. He was like, "Don't worry about it. Okay, we'll still work."
Didn't hold that against you.
Nope.
Wow.
And let me do my thing.
Yeah.
He a
And-
legend on a whole nother
Man,
level.
a whole other level, bro.
Yeah. I mean, he
And
was amazing.
Terry's rule of thumb was, I'll never ask you to do something I wouldn't do. That's his rule of thumb. And we configured and constructed our business arrangement with what made sense for the time. It's like we if we created something, we got our publishing and we got paid.
we got our 15.
We didn't get a
racks.
trophy for being on the team. We got paid when we brought something to the table. So I will say this. There were, and I'm not gonna say no names. There were staff writers at Flight Time. We came back in the fold. We cleaned house. Terry's like, okay, yeah, we can clean the bench now. We got some Jedis here now, and it was great, man. It was like reconnecting with our heroes. You know what I'm saying? And at the highest level.
Yeah.
And and I think for us too, it really stood out when we finally got to get time with Jam. Because it was just it's different with Jam. It's you got to have a different pedigree for Jam. Jam is like on the spot.
Yeah.
Will kill you on the spot.
Yeah.
And so for him to
Treacherous.
for us to circle back and Jam coming to us and say, man, I'd like for you guys to do the Jam record with me. Yo, Jam never made that available to anybody. So it gave us that confidence that we also needed Philly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
with Terry, it was like Terry on the business side, and then Jimmy on the creative, and then Terry with the creative too. And then we're moving the studio. We're gonna go to the Midwest. Eventually, Jam was like, "All right, I'm coming,"
And he sold the crib.
and he sold his castle in Minnesota.
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
about
yeah.
it. I heard
It looked
it,
like
yeah.
the White House.
Yeah, I heard
Straight
about
up. It was like
Yeah,
the
he
White
had
House.
he had a spread, and
that was inspiration for everybody in the music business.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And it's like at
He
that
used to
point,
go, are you making house music? Though? Music that buys the house. That's what he used to say.
Shit.
Yeah.
You're making house
Yeah.
music.
house
And
music,
they
man.
have this thing where they scratch your chin like,
Leon Silver's always said, "It's good to be different, but not different."
yuck.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. So, Truth Hurts.
Truth Hurts. First record.
But there are multiples.
Yeah.
But- and here's what's crazy.
On this,
man.
on this legendary album.
Legendary album.
But what's crazy is we were only supposed to do one. And so at that time, he
But when you
like,
got the goods.
yeah, at that time,
know?
like he had a couple records, like he played us Burn, so we got to hear where he was sonically. He had Caught Up, and maybe one or two.
He had
from
Confessions. It was kind of broken a little bit.
He had a couple from Dre and Vidal, and so we go in there, we come in with Truth Hurts, and I'll never forget when LA called T and was like, okay, Truth Hurts brought a different tone into the record. We need to rethink some things as far as where we're going at on direction side.
I'm sending him back.
And he was like, I'm sending them back. So T was like, hey, y'all got more? So it was like, oh, man, here goes. That's what it's made for. Oh, simple things.
But
That's what it's
here-
made for.
Yeah.
But here's the
And
deal.
here's
Like,
like,
so-
Hold
the fuck on.
Hold the phone.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
So
No, hold the phone.
No, you stop. You stop it.
When that record come up, shit.
yeah.
That's what it's made for.
That's exactly that term right there tells you exactly what it is.
Oh, y'all sick. savages for that.
Yeah, y'all went somewhere else with that.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: like we're working on Janet, so I'm stuck on Janet, right? I don't want to do Usher. I was like not inspired at all. I was like,
I'm in Janet room.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Terry's like, Bob.
It did for me. It didn't matter. I was cooking for both. That's really how That's What It's Made For, because I was cooking That's What It's Made For Janet, and all my inspiration off that was Ignition. I was just like, you know what? Let me try to just get some the bounce.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, man. I came out of my Nino Brown room and I went upstairs, which was the 3rd floor, and I pushed play. It was Bob and Terry in the room, and man, it was like Terry's, Bob, Melody, Ush comes in, and well, actually, no, it started with Jam.
Yeah, Jam.
It started with Jam. I went and played it in a room Jam was in, and so he gets on the keys. He's starting to fill it out. Terry and Ush walk in, and Jam was like, "Oh no, this one's off. This one's for Janet." Terry was like, "Shit."
And we went. I went in the kitchen with Terry because it was the air got a little thick, right? So in the kitchen, Terry sat down. He was like, "I told you, it's gonna go in that room."
Yeah.
I was like, "Ah, hey, good."
So does Janet know that record was supposed to be hers?
No.
Oh,
It got
maybe
hijacked.
she watches.
Now she
maybe
do
she
now.
watches.
This is
It got
great.
You never know who watches.
You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
That one got, that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
Hijacked.
He got hijacked. And then, you know, LA had told Mark Pitts, who was like the A&R at the time, he said, you got to get Jimmy and Terry in the room. So Mark came to me, he's like, man, we got to get both the guys because that's how we're going to get like, Can You Stand the Rain? And I said, never happening.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're doing 2 different things. So I said, what does LA want? He goes, man, that classic. I said, cool. I called Jam. I said, hey, Jam, you know, you played this little chord progression. Can I use that for Usher? Yeah. So I said, could he come up? All I got is 10 minutes. So I was like, all right, cool. So Iz put a groove together. Actually, I said we're going to get a groove together for this one joint. Jam gave me just piano with a click track. Then Iz had the drums. I put that in there. And I said, man, what if we take Ush to like the Bee Gees or something? So Simple Things was birthed. Did that one. Right after that, we did Bad Girl. And I hated Bad Girl. Hated it. So I'm on the MPC. Izzy's downstairs, and you know, we gotta get records done. So I'm knocking that out, put a bridge in it.
He hated Bad Girl.
I just want to.
Yeah. I'm gonna flip the table over.
I just want to break this keyboard
I hated Bad Girl.
over your back.
I know.
I just want a honky tonk, man. You hated Bad Girl.
I was just like, dude. And then, you know, what I try to do is I try to get these nuances. So like, I was thinking of Take a Ride in the Sky. On a ship and the side. And then you get so that's where you got all that. So I was like, all right, I'm feeding myself. The bridge comes up, I'm like, ooh, let's do some Isleys. And so that's how you got the bridge. And that, to me, I had to like psych myself out.
He was like, put some live hats on this.
And then he goes in there, and then Iz came in there and did the what y'all, and all that scratching. So I was like, cool. And then he went right downstairs.
Who wrote that?
It was Terry Lewis.
Wrote that by himself?
Yeah, with Ush. But yeah, he had the concept, and
by her own bottles.
And you know, just so you understand the climate of creativity, then it was like we were just making so much music. We weren't stuck. It was just like, if it felt good and it felt right, man, play it. Cool, you got that? That's how quick we were moving there.
Yeah,
you know,
every record we did was on the album. We did Seduction. And, you know, Seduction.
Let's stop again.
Yeah,
let's stop again for the people. So the people can in turn just put a dot in your YouTube feed. Seduction.
Yeah.
You gonna make me do it.
Yeah.
To ya. To ya. You gonna make me do it to you.
Well,
That's what he said.
Listen. Usher didn't have a sexy moment.
No, but see,
until Seduction.
And we talked about that on the Rico Love episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
Rico wrote the rap.
So he
Seduction.
Yeah, and you know, it's Terry lives by the principle of concept. So as they're bringing this confessions concept to us, Terry's like, "Okay, you confessing, cool. That's cool, boy. But let's talk about all the things in between while you're confessing. Let's talk about the fun you were having."
Yeah.
So T was like,
Yeah.
you know, we need to.
Before I had to tell you about this.
Yeah.
And cry.
Yeah.
You're in the movie.
Before I had to fake cry and tell you why I did it.
In the movie where you scream, and then it reverses and goes all the way back to why you screaming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that.
It's that moment.
That's how you write the music.
I want to know. I want to know about fun.
That's how you fucking
So because
write
I understood Terry's brain, we had a track in a laptop, and I said, T, it's Seduction. And Terry was like, I like the top, Seduction. And we used to label songs like Feels Good or whatever.
Who played that?
That's all from the MP.
That's all it is. Yeah. That's all it is.
And you know, rest in peace to Jim, but he played keys on that, or
yeah, he played keys. I heard, I was like, let me do some Jimmy Jam. So I did like the flute.
Yeah.
And I had this one keyboard that Terry was like, dive into this keyboard because it's gonna be great. So it was the Roland V synth.
Who did the drums?
Yeah, drums and guitar, man.
You're out of control.
Yeah, he was crazy.
I was such a great time of just making music.
Y'all,
man.
but y'all were making history, bro.
And you know what, man? We didn't. That's the beauty, and I think this is like the most important part of all of this because I'll never forget. You know, it came out, and then we were rushing to get they wanted everything done. It was going to come out in March. So Urban Network, you know, the music conference, it happened, I think, a week after Confessions and Demita Joe came out. And Demita Joe was we had the #1 record and the #2 record in the world. Jimmy and Terry, we were all just on the ground. We just worked every day. We drive from Rancho Cucamonga at 12 o'clock and stay in the studio till 4 in the morning, go back home, do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So we didn't know what was happening.
It's something about Rancho, huh?
Yeah, you know, you're out of it.
Some in the water.
And honestly,
you know you're out of it.
You're out of it.
You know, he was in Rancho.
Yeah,
when he got cracking.
I used to hear you like, I'd be like,
I was down bad.
you were down at the Best Buy.
I was right across from the Best Buy.
Yeah.
The apartment was like 1,200.
Yeah.
Brand new apartments.
That's right. You were
there on
right
Church
there.
Street.
Church Street.
That's where we were at.
I was right there, baby.
That's crazy. Y'all were all there.
So check this out. We had our spot. Big Jim had a spot right by us.
In Rancho too?
And Rancho, because it was like, we knew what they were accustomed to living, you know, in terms of just being in Minneapolis. So we're like, this is the place. And DJ Rogers was Big Jim's manager. So
what?
Yeah, DJ Rogers was Big Jim's manager.
DJ Rogers?
The DJ Rogers. Yeah.
Wow.
Love brought me back, DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame.
There you go.
Shame, DJ.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
So
legendary record.
Yes.
You know, we go to the Urban Network and, you know, I see Raphael Sadiq and Ray's like, hey, man. I looked, I said, what's up, bro? He was like, man, my favorite record, man, Truth Hurts. And the air was different in the whole place. And it was like, dude, the record, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it, right? I didn't like know I got something cracking.
Yeah.
We just feel like we got a hot record and
off to the next.
And
yeah.
What I loved about going to the Urban Network, Miller London ran it at the time, and you know, I would go there, you know, year after year, and I remember they would have this calendar, and it had all the stars' birthdays in every month, and I remember mine was in there, and when you don't have anything, and you look like, wow, they know my birthday, like Miller London put it. Damn. I was like, that meant everything to me. So I purposely would go there, just to like, wow, I need this, right? I need that in my life. So when it happened, man, he came up to me and my brother and he was like, son, I'm so happy for you. Skip Miller said, what'd I tell you when you were 12, man? You can't hold talent back. You can't hold it down. He's like, so proud of you. And that for me, I was like, yo, we got something. And more importantly, I knew how powerful and great I was or wasn't, because God made that work for me and showed me, like, you thought you had it here. You thought, now look at the work you didn't really were inspired about and into. It's 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million.
Keep going.
6 million, 7 million.
And what's crazy is we really didn't, we were just so in the zone. I think at 7 million is when our publicist tugged on us. It was like, it's at 7 million records sold right now. We were like,
what? And so Ush
wow.
reached out to Iz and he was like, look, I'm touring. We're going to be at the Staples, which is now the crypto.com spot. And so he was like, I want you guys to come down. And I was like,
we only go and see Prince.
I'm going to go see Prince, but I ain't doing all that.
I went to go see Prince at Staples.
Yeah, so did I. I left Gwen Stefani's work on I'm going, bye. I'm going to see Prince. I understand.
Right.
So I didn't want to go to Usher's thing. And finally, at the last minute,
on, Bob, we got to go.
We got to go. So we get to our seats, and the show starts. And he starts playing the records. And I'm like going,
he started looking
you
around.
see the shit happen.
Yeah.
I'm seeing
in real time.
I'm seeing Chinese, Mexican.
In real time.
That is a different feeling.
I seen
That's a
every
different
culture,
feeling.
and I'm like, the lady next to me, and she's like, what y'all know about it? And I was like, wow, we've touched some people.
Maybe I do like this song.
Maybe
I know, right? I was like, maybe she's a great girl.
yeah.
But then it started hitting me, like, okay, this is what it is. And I'll be able to answer that one question now. When it comes, when y'all ask. Now I got the answer for that question. But I started realizing, like, okay, this is it. Now,
Yeah.
you're prepared. We're not waiting for the opportunity. You're prepared. And that's something Jam always just used to talk about as well. So that's like, okay, Earth, Wind, and Fire's coming, and Maurice is on his way. And I was like, they're coming. Never forget, I got a Stratocaster from eBay. It was like 1976. We knocked out a record for Earth, Wind, and Fire, knowing that they were coming. But I think we did that in what, 30?
30 minutes at like 3 a.m. Like,
knocked it out.
Yeah.
Met Maurice, man. We became the best of friends. The OJs were coming in. It was like, oh, we got it. Then Yolanda Adams is coming. Got it.
Yeah.
Then Gwen Stefani's coming in. It's like, oh, got it. It just was like,
yeah,
we're on it. And
the spirit was on.
the spirit was going, man.
Yeah,
And at that time,
groove.
you remember my marketing plan I had talked about, right? Well, I went back to my marketing plan. And tech and music, when it happens for you, it's going to work. And a friend of ours in the IE, who we met through my father and James Felix, the guy from the Andre Crouch and the Disciples, was George Benson's percussionist. And he said, I have my daughter, would love for you guys to work with her, and I want to introduce you to Monster Cable.
Noli.
So
My sister used to work for Noli.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My sister used to work for Noli.
So-
I mean, it was San Francisco. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's
Like,
right.
Yeah. She
I
literally
always
worked
forget. I always
at
forget.
Monster.
Yeah, so
She was a monster.
she was a monster, yeah. That's the whole, that culture that like,
yeah.
you drink the Monster Kool-Aid, you become a monster.
Yeah.
But we got introduced to each other. They came down to the studio, and that started a whole nother vertical for us as entrepreneurs and as businessmen
Yeah.
in music. They wanted to get in the music game, and we wanted to learn their space. So guy who loves information, we went on this journey together, and we learned branding and retail, and we became the ambassadors for a lot of their products and sales meetings. So we were with learning sales staff, and we were under the hood kind of guys. So we're like, man, music can live in this department. We're going to Best Buy at the time. Circuit City was here. So like TV, AV, receivers, music, man.
And right at
If the music game
yeah.
gets into this, it could
It's
be
over.
really big.
Yeah. And right at the start of that, while we were just in this zone of music, we started working on our solo album, which is the Avila Brothers, The Mood Sensational.
Mm-hmm.
And we put out a record, I Want You. And, you know, for us, that was like, I don't know how we found time to work on that record and complete it because, you know, we just, time was limited then, but we would stay late hours, we'd finish, and then we're like, all right, let's plug away. Let's try to, you know, get this record going. And, you know, it was really like, for us, it was going to be like kind of a token of appreciation for the shit we love and like to be as musicians. And we put this body of work together, and you know, we put out Want You, and then I Want You starts doing its thing, and it's like, people are like, well, can you come out and gig? And we're like, man, we're studio rats. Like, we can't tour.
We'll gig, but across the street, or if it's local.
But you know, and I look back at I Want You, and it's like, you see what it means to like the skating road, and people just, one of those classics. And our whole thing was like the experience. Like, so, you know, the artwork, we did vinyl, we just, you know, we dressed it up a certain way. So it felt like a collector's, like, you know, item or whatever. And so, you know, that project just kind of took on a life of its own, man. And you know, people ask us all the time about, you know, that record, and I Want You.
Was that put out with Monster Music at the time or no?
It was right before. It was right before. We did a distribution deal with Universal, and you know, it was basically a labor of love, and it gave us an opportunity to make a record. Yeah, how we
because they were trying to get into the music space.
They were trying, and that was the reason why we partnered up. And we talked about doing something, but it was like, you know, we talk about a woman will build an empire, take an empire down. We told them, get in the music business, and your empire will surely go away. There's a different way to go about this.
And here's what's crazy. It was like, it was full circle, because I'm thinking, man, I know what this is, because I was 16, 17 selling their cable in Best Buy.
Yeah.
The Monster cables,
Now here we are in a room with no lead, and we're getting ready to learn this industry completely outside of music now. Now we're getting to learn a space that we know nothing about. Right? Retail, how to product
what year
tooling.
is this?
This is like right after Confessions, about 2005.
Yeah, 2005. You know. And so it became this trade-off where Noah would visit the studio every week, and he'd come sit with us, and we teach him music industry, and he'd teach us retail.
Would he be on his Segway?
Yeah, he was on his Segway. He showed
up.
What's crazy was, you know, we laughed because he showed up to the studio in this old raggedy limo. And mind you, at that time, Noah was selling a $200 cable that only cost him $500 to make.
Or $5.
Or $5.
$5.
So
that margin was crazy.
He was killing the game. And so what was unique, what was unique about it though is when he'd come to the studio, we'd share ideas. And he'd take an idea and he'd go create it at a shop and bring it back the next week and show it to us.
Yep. So he had a 24-hour thing going. Like his factories, they just did not stop.
Did not stop.
They were ask Bob.
Yeah.
My brother.
Oh, your brother?
No. So at one point, when my sister's working there for him in the offices, my brother just needs a gig at one point, like some years ago. And she got him like an overnight.
Oh wow.
In the factory.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm never going back.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because
he was like, no, that shit different.
You know what's crazy too? That as you say that, I still don't sleep to this day because I got trained by, you know, going home at 4 a.m. and being available for a Hong Kong conference call. Yeah. So I would never sleep. So still to this day, you know, I'm answering emails at 3, 4 a.m. and they always call me like Bobby, the guy that doesn't sleep, and I learned it from them because they never slept.
Yeah, Noli was different.
Yeah.
What was the fly in and fly outs was different.
He never slept.
He slept in the plane or in the car. That was it.
And what's crazy at that time, you know, he had over 1,000 SKUs, and he was the one guy in retail. He was in gaming, he was in appliances, he was in home AV. He was in media.
What's the thing they do in Vegas every year? Is it
CS?
He was the king.
He was the king.
Yeah. So, you know, that was, you know, again, new relationship, new journey. You know, he's teaching us retail. He's teaching us tooling, product development, packaging, all these things that we love. Because mind you, remember, we're still the same guys that had the T-shirt business.
Yeah.
You know, so just logo, colors.
Yeah, put it all together. And like you said, CES, they were like, you guys want to go to CES? And it's like, what's CES? We're gonna fly you guys out, blah, 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 blah. So we went over there and it was like, oh, this is basically the NAM of your guys'
whole
industry.
World.
Whole nother world.
Different world. Yeah. And as we were getting this information, I went back to my marketing plan and I was like, see, this is where the labels missed it.
Okay.
So rule of thumb with Nolan creating product, know your customer. Know what you're building for, who you're building it for. Labels got it wrong with me. They're trying to, they can't figure it out. They're trying to find their way, not knowing you just got to let it be. Mm-hmm. And it's not for one demographic. It's not just for one culture. Mm-hmm. Bobby actually represents a whole lot, and he just got to be what he is. Mm-hmm. And trying to stick me in a box, once you get in the box, you can never get out. Mm-hmm. And that's what they couldn't figure out. And we learned that being with Noel and Monster, understanding the different verticals. So then it was like, okay, now I'm getting back into my artist mode, knowing how they met, like what was wrong by watching Noel take this cable that only costed him $5 to sell it for $200. And when you put it behind your TV, you never see it again. How do you do? That's a Jedi mind trick that is
he
like
said you never see it.
You never see it again.
You never see it again.
It was packaged.
It was a packaging, man. It was like
it was strong.
It would cut you.
If you had trying to open them shits, you'd be like, "Hey, this must be expensive."
And the tips were gold. So
it was gold.
You felt like you were buying the best
No. The way I'm gonna blame it on you because you worked at Best Buy. The way you guys would sell it was the gold tips are those conductors.
Oh yeah, it was a sale too.
It conducts the current, the electricity. Just look at the two different TVs. You see a difference? No. Well, trust me, it's over there.
You know me. I'm the guy that's like, wait, so this $20 one don't work? This ain't you sure?
No.
You sure?
And I'm the guy that's like, yeah, I see it.
and I'd be
but
like,
never see it.
But you never see it.
Well, that's it.
I believed everything you said.
I'd be like, it cancels all interference, guys.
Yeah.
Gold tips.
I was the guy who believed.
The thicker the cable, the better the sound. It makes sense. More cable.
Oh, y'all got me. Yeah. Y'all was getting me.
Yeah. Oh, the Kool-Aid.
So as y'all working there with him, did you start developing things with him?
So check this out. We would share ideas.
Okay.
And the first idea, I remember, he had talked to us about being able to transmit. Like if we're working in the studio and we want to hear something in the car, being able to transmit something to your FM stereo. So he came back and he brought this product back called the iCruise.
You called the what?
iCruise.
iCruise.
It was a cassette that went into your tape deck, and through transmitting, you could hear what you're doing in the studio.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we started this relationship of just sharing the music stuff, him sharing retail and product and all that stuff. And then one day he comes to the studio and he says, "Hey, what do you guys think about headphones?" And I was like, headphones, nobody's really rocking.
Nobody was really rocking them at
you
that
see
time.
Bose, but it's dudes that are 50 plus rocking them.
Nobody was really wearing them.
And Bob was like, yeah, but we connected with music and we use music as a vehicle to get it to an audience. And Noah's like, yeah, lifestyle. And
we were in Brisbane every other week, and Terry would be like, "Hey, don't forget.
Music is what you do."
Music starts the conversation. It's like, yeah, but I smelled what I sensed in '99. It's here,
right by that airport.
Yeah,
right by the airport. Yeah, and man, it was like I said, we were engulfed in retail with them, and just so like we're learning something new. It's just like it became music. That's easy. We got this. This right here. Yeah. This is something.
Life changing.
They would drag us to Circuit City meetings. They would have me and Bob just be in the room where they're selling through product to the reps, and we were just sponging like, okay,
this is what it is.
This is what it is.
Yeah, and those relationships were priceless. So we were like, okay, no, this is how we get in the music game here. We do it this way. And, Beats by Dre was birthed. And that was a concept that was given to a few, and they turned it down, and it ultimately went to Dre. And
let's unfold that. We actually took one of the first.
Let's unfold.
Oh, you want?
Let's unfold the Beats.
Okay. Oh.
I remember. When the first working prototype came.
Yeah.
It was in a briefcase attached to a chain, attached to a security man's arm, right? Because Noah was always about presentation. And I remember when we had a working prototype, first person closest to reach that we were working with at that time was Usher. And so we're like, Ush, man, you got to come check out this headphone. And could be something, could be something we maybe build around you, whatever. And he passed on it. Then we started chasing Ludacris around town. Passed on it. And if you think about that time,
it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't a thing.
It's
music.
That's a perfect way to say
it's like when Phil Knight was chasing people with the Nike.
Stock the Magic Johnson.
And that was because everybody
Hindsight.
looked at it for what it was. They looked at it as a headphone, and it's like, well,
people
I don't
not
really,
rocking headphones.
And it's like, no, you got to look at it as a vehicle, vehicle to take your core product of what you do and marry it to new customers, right? Give them a new experience. But at that time, artists, nobody thought beyond. You got an album, you got to launch a single. What's the radio plan? How we going to market?
The furthest were T-shirts. That's the furthest.
Yeah.
Losing gave me that instinct.
Yeah. So
I'm like, no, we're gonna get this.
And we were kind of running out of steam. Like we were telling, man, we've tried. Like Luda. I mean, nobody. Gwen Stefani comes and we're working, and we talk to her about this headphone. She's like, I'm a girl. I really don't, I don't wear the headphones or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe Jimmy.
Jimmy, you could say the full name.
Ivy.
Jimmy Ivy.
And it was crazy because we ended up working with her, and I had a talk with Terry, and it's like, be stealth. And I said, cool. So it's like, let's don't put our name anywhere. Let's not let them know. Just stay behind the scenes with Noel and Kevin, which is his son, who really drove a lot of the initiatives. Mm-hmm. And so I remember being in the studio, just like Jimmy had no idea me and Iz were part of none of that. And the only ones that knew, the company and Jimmy and Terry. So we found ourselves making calls for Monster to get them engaged just with the musical community, because we felt, they needed a seed. And how do you seed us musicians and producers? Give them free goods.
Yeah. What's your address? All right, cool. We got 10 headphones coming in.
And it's crazy because everybody thinks Beats hit, and when it first came out, and it didn't.
It didn't.
It failed.
It failed for a good year.
They were breaking.
Breaking. We knew everything, and they really weren't connecting from a marketing.
They
standpoint.
gave me multiple.
Yeah. When you got one, you knew you were going to get 10.
Yeah, no, I'm saying because they would break.
Breaking,
They would break at first. Yeah, they had to figure all that shit out.
They had to figure it out. And then, retail is like going, Monster, you're hot here. You're not a headphone company. But their backs had been built on cable at a high level for so long. They were making money. They couldn't tell them no. So Noel said, well, I'll leverage this one SKU on the back of the cable industry that I have, the space that I have. So if we fail here, you can make it up over here.
Yeah. And that's how we got retail to buy into the headphone, was he leveraged his core SKUs for them to give him a chance on this headphone. And mind you, this is the first time he's making a headphone. But that just shows you the power he had at retail, to get them to accept this new product. So.
You know what I'm about to ask, though? Mm-hmm. How was the business set up?
Yeah. Terrible.
But here's what I'll say. For us, when I look back at it, the trade-off was, it was like our high-level college attendance to
Princeton,
Yale
Harvard,
of learning retail. Because mind you, like I said, this is a space we knew nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But the trade-off of this man pouring into us allowed us to create so many successful products after Beats. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget. I mean, when we go to the CS, after the Beats came up, everybody was a headphone company all of a sudden, and everybody wanted to meet with us, and everybody was like, "Cool, we want to do a headphone. Let's
the real ones, the real executives and CEOs, a lot of these companies knew, like Bobby Nils.
But when you go back and look on it, right, and you say, because like you said, you take it as education and that whole thing. Do you also look at it and say, "Damn, should I had stopped and got the business all the way intact?"
Absolutely. And wherever there's a fortune made, there's a crime's been committed. So we weren't the only ones.
Well, I mean, the bigger the fortune, the bigger the crime.
But exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing, I think it was eye-opening, because we went from being guests at CES, looking at it for the first time, And then we walk in a few years later and we're, again, here we go, game changers.
Right.
And it
You the bell of the ball.
But I think
It
too,
changed the game.
When you look at it from a creative aspect, you know, the real asset is our creativity and our ideas, right? And when you're coming from a world of music and songwriting, you understand that that's publishing, right? But when you jump into this other lane that's around tech and product, and it's new, and you know, points in the retail world are different from how
You
we
don't
look
know,
at
yeah, you don't know how that's chopped up.
You don't know how it's chopped up. And so, you know, it's like you look at that and you say, okay, you're in the moment, you're sharing ideas, you're leveraging relationships. We're bringing them Ush, we're bringing them Luda. You're just going because you're excited and you know you have something, and how it unfolds, you just hope that it unfolds correctly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, but the doors, if you do it right, the doors that open, the amount of doors that open.
Yeah.
That allows me and Bob to have success outside of us having to write a hit record.
Yeah.
See, that's where, when I look at it now, that's where the win was for us. Because the amount of information that Noel pumped into us allowed us to create relationships in real time at retail. So all our folks then now run Best Buy. They run massive companies.
He paid you in knowledge.
Yeah.
He paid us in knowledge.
The social currency was
The
crazy.
social currency was
I
crazy.
mean, you know, it got to the point where Best Buy only wanted to talk to us, and we became the interpreter.
Yeah. Did they know you were a former employee?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that was
one of
And
y'all.
but that was the thing, because you know,
It's me. Remember me? Remember Izzy?
I had the blue shirt. Yeah, the blue shirt.
All the
brown.
shirts are blue, Izzy.
And that was the thing. It was like, you know, and that made it even more powerful when we got in the rooms, because, you know, being able to speak to that and being able to understand the climate of the customer and then the product that needs to be put before them, you know, and taking that information, and then here we are now, we're doing the Renaissance drum machine with a Kai, and they need the same thing. We went in there, they thought they were hyped, they presented us
Yeah, but how did we get there though? Best Buy wanted us to run their new division.
called
Pro MI. So when you would go into Best Buy and you saw like a Guitar Center, that was us. And now we were in control of like what products go in. So then when companies would come and do the
pitch.
ta-da!
Yeah.
Man, I'll never forget. We went to Boston, and
Rhode Island,
they were like, "Oh, you're gonna love this. It's what they use, the Kai drum machine, right?" So they did their little spiel, and I never forget telling it to the CEO and the whole staff, and they go, "What do you think?" I said, "It's some bullshit.
yeah.
It's terrible." And then our Best Buy guys are there, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not buying that." So we got asked to stay another day, and the CEO was like, "Can you guys come to the house? Take you on the boat. You guys like fishing.
Yeah.
We would need to talk." And now we found ourselves like
Getting their product
right.
And see, that was the thing, because we're connoisseurs of the MPC. So we know it from top to bottom, what it needs to be, what it needs to feel like.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a toy? Does it feel like a tank?
Yeah, make the metal heavier. It's too
So
light.
we had to remind them of the product that they make and what it stands for creators.
Because you guys actually use it.
Well, yeah,
use
They
it,
make
right?
it, but you use it.
And still to this day on the MP, it says pro. Okay, so it has to feel pro. And so going from there, getting that right, you know, getting that machine right, then also courting all of our creatives and our friends, saying, hey, we're going to make sure you get one. You know, we'll send you one. Yo, shoot us some notes. What does it need? Does it need to be a little bit more of this? You know, and just
and
start engaging.
We never got one, huh? No, did you get one?
I don't want to talk about it.
We're not real friends.
Hey, listen, fellas. In all honesty,
Pretty sure we produced a couple records in our time. Man.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, my bad. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna blame her.
Yeah, blame
She
me, bro.
did it. She didn't get you that MPC. But you know, see, in the process though, one thing that came out of that was being hurt, being let down as an artist. We were then able to repair a relationship with the guy who actually was responsible for building the MPC 3000 with Roger Lynn, Bruce Forat, who did everything on the MPC for Dre. I mean, everybody on the face of the earth.
I had a bunch of stuff made.
We
by
made the
Forat.
CEO go to his
Forat
shop.
Give me that breakdown again.
Forat helped build the schematics for the MPC 3000. It wasn't Roger Lynn.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's why he's so.
Yeah.
I didn't know
excellent.
why everybody went to Forat. I just knew it was the thing to
Bruce,
do.
Bruce had the original patent on the pads. That was Bruce. Yeah, and what's crazy is, and this is how God works, man, because you think you're doing something great, but then God reminds you, it's like, yeah, I got this title, right? So, you know, how great was it that in all the years that Bruce has pretty much been the face for Akai, they've never thanked him, they've never welcomed him. But through us, later on in life,
we took his ass down there.
Yeah, we're at Akai, helping them with machine. And even me and Bob say, you know what? We're dope, but we can't do this without Bruce. There's no way we could do this. So man, we get Akai to fly Bruce out. They make this huge welcome Bruce to Akai sign. So we pull up, and you just saw what it meant for Bruce in his eyes to finally be acknowledged. Not from the product guy, not from the marketing team, but from Jack O'Donnell, the CEO himself, and just say, man, shame on us, but we want to welcome you here with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Like
when Bruce kissed me on the cheek, it just was like love, man. Like,
Forat.
Yeah.
Forat.
That's are you kidding me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's never too late to make it right.
It isn't.
Make it right.
Wow.
It takes more to be an asshole than it is to be nice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you anything to give somebody credit.
And like to Bob's point, when he said repair the relationship, that's what we were able to do.
That's awesome.
So, but again, points back to the information that Noah blessed us with, and how we were able to take that information and create other opportunities.
How's your relationship with Akai now?
We still chop it up. I mean, they still get it wrong from time to time, but we still chop it up.
Okay. I think I'm just trying to get to where
Mark will be calling you soon.
I know you
they got a new machine too right now. It's really dope.
I got one sitting over there.
I'll tell you, a good friend of ours, Mark Frederick, who is still there. He's like Jack O'Donnell's right-hand guy. He's still a great friend of ours. I mean, anytime I've needed anything on tour, it's there. So it's family.
And he should know that
he just put his prayer request in. He put his prayer request in.
We're going to redo the room, throw a bunch of Akai stuff in it. Just throwing it out there.
Don't spend your own money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We got you.
Take looking for a love offering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's time for an offering.
Listen, I told y'all this was going to be unpacking of 30 plus years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow. The journey is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Let's do this, because I know we could talk for all night. That's how, because we do that. Already.
I'm here with these two incredible cats. I'm like, can I ask y'all? I told Take in the dressing room at the New Edition concert, I was like, man, bro, you are so bad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you asked him to take his
No, he did it already.
I did it anyway.
He did it already.
He didn't have to ask.
Wait, you know who was getting ready to take the shirt off? Was a security guard was going to take my shirt off and beat my ass when I tried to get. I waved and it was like, hey. I was like,
I'll come back.
And I just called bad timing. I said, wait,
and I was like, hey, get in here.
I was like this.
Oh, that's good.
No, I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah, man.
You know
like serious fan, man. I mean, and this guy,
guys from the cloth.
Yeah, man.
That's what I care about.
The neutrons, bro.
Yeah.
The neutron.
I see how you're trying to spin it. I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do.
He's
trying to get into his questionnaire. He's good. Scott's good.
Yeah. He said they had early media training.
Going up.
Early on in, guys. Early on.
Look over here, but
give me
no over here.
Give me right now for you guys, because last time I saw you in action, you were it was two band members. Mm-hmm. It was my guy Spears,
our brother.
We raised from the
Speezy.
DMV,
amazing,
and
man.
you. That was it. And I'm looking at her like, what is he doing?
Where did you see him? Tell him where you see him.
He's doing everything.
Tell him where you saw him, though.
You saw Caesars?
Oh, I mean, this was Usher. Usher residency in Vegas, where he only needed 2 musicians. Okay,
hold on.
Take that back.
I'm not sure what day you came. You might have came when I got COVID, but there was 3 of us.
I didn't see you there.
Yeah,
I got COVID. Yeah.
Only needed 3.
Only needed 3.
Okay, Usher's music definitely requires a 19-piece band.
Yeah.
It's 3 of y'all.
Yeah,
I saw 2.
Y'all was holding shit down.
And I saw you picking up everything. All the instruments. And I was like, what
that shit was different.
going on
Yeah, we
here?
both caught ourselves being like,
I'm like, who else is here?
Yeah, you guys know how to get under the hood quick.
Oh no, because I'm watching I'm watching the intricacies of how it's all coming together. I know Usher's gonna do Usher. I'm not worried about him. He's gonna do that's for them. I need to see the pieces that I need to see.
Yeah.
That feed me. And that's that engine. I need to, you know what I'm saying? I need to see that.
What's
that
under there?
V12. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And y'all were cooking on such a level.
Man,
such an impressive level.
I think like it was a great opportunity and experience for me, my brother, and who became one of my most amazing friends, Lil Jon.
Yeah, I've been building it.
We were building the show.
Yeah.
And
just to give you some perspective, I'm sitting by Lil Jon, and Lil Jon is talking me through the show.
there you
one of
go.
those persons that tell you tell you what's going to come up in the movie.
That's right.
Yeah, he
He
gonna
did tell
die,
me.
but he gonna run. But just keep watching it. Though.
Yeah.
I'm like, John, I said, see what we're trying to do in this part is trying to make it like a club. See, watch how I go to the transition. Watch the transition. He looked like this. Yeah. I'm like, he talked me through the whole show.
That's great.
I was like, you're great. I know you're great. Thanks. You're great. I get it. But that's what was going on.
I mean,
John.
for me, it's like I've always had this thing, not to be arrogant, but I was never gonna die to play in another man's song and that be my career.
Yeah.
And I had talked to Chucky Booker, and I was like, Chucky, what do you think I should do? He was like, man, you should definitely do it. I talked to Terry. He's like, man, get your ass off the couch and go touch some people and see, you got to share your gift with people. And more importantly, it was like, it gave me an opportunity to share the stage with his. Mm-hmm. And it was a great experience for me because it allowed me to just have fun. And it just was like, I mean, how hard it could it be?
y'all was having a good time.
Yeah, we had a great time. And being in the studio and just going through the process, it was like, I watched Iz really navigates that machine in terms of production, dealing with management, being, a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
All of those things.
Yeah.
Where I would be the guy to be like, kiss my ass. I'm out.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, it's the easiest thing for me to do, to play my own shit and then it's how hard is it to play Confessions? How hard is it to play these records? But what was great, I was able to paint these records, still keep these records intact, and that was our goal, right? Because who wants to hear or be in a seat and watch your artist do your favorite song and he turns a fast song into a slow song and it's your favorite record? Like, our thing was, how do we give the audience and the consumers a great experience? And I think collectively, through Usher's input, John had a great concept of what the show needed to be, and for us to have our concept together and build that whole show was like
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was
honestly,
amazing.
we treated it like one long record. Mm-hmm. That was the goal. It's like once we got a set list together, we began to create this journey of music, and that was the thing. It's like, you've played these records a million times. How do you reintroduce them without, jeopardizing the way people want to hear the hits?
Yeah.
And, one of the things we learned from Terry is never get in the way of the hit. Play the hit, man.
Play the hit.
And so, that was the thing. And, we took this thing and we cooked it, we baked it, we mastered it. Then we brought it to the venue. We remixed to the venue because we wanted this show to slap you in the face. I mean, we're coming out of the pandemic. And this is Usher's first time being in Vegas, having a residency. And so it's like, yo, how do we take, all the nuances of what we experienced from live shows that we love, whether it was New Edition, whether it was Prince, whether it was Michael, how do we give this experience off the right way? And, it was like meeting other minds. I mean, it was a rock that we constantly chiseled and made better. I remember getting to the venue and recording additional parts. Yeah. Okay, we gotta beef this up here.
And that venue was soft. You gotta remember, it was built for Celine Dion, so it had no ass in the building. So it took, the ears.
You just said that Celine Dion ain't got no cheeks.
She ain't got no cheeks. No, she's got the pillow. She got the pillow in the fluff.
Hogan bottom.
I don't have nothing to do with that.
We call that a Hogan bottom.
Tank
He
still trying to get
afford that conversation.
Tank still trying to get a fix.
But
He can afford it. He's rich.
I remember telling Caesars like, "Yo, we got to pull that PA down because it can't handle what we're giving it." You know, that's how in depth we were going with making sure that sonically it was hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
You know, and
What's my guy? What's my
Kyle?
guy? Kyle. That's my guy. You know, I
What
played
up,
basketball
Kyle?
with Kyle.
What?
That's my guy.
wow.
I know Kyle from playing basketball.
Wow.
And then he was like, "Yeah, I be, I'm do mix engineer." I say, "You do?"
Kyle's out of here, man.
Nice,
Kyle's
super
amazing.
nice.
Beautiful
That
person.
show.
That's
Super
our,
dope.
that's our
Everybody that
human
was
being.
part of that.
That's a brother.
Everybody
But-
that was a part of that did their thing.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't miss, and I'm a stickler for
That's for your cloth.
order, like
Yeah.
order and transitions.
Yeah.
Like it's gotta
How it
be
marries together.
seamless. It's
Yeah.
gotta be like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in some concerts. I'm just like, why did y'all do that? Why did you that?
We're
Not
the
some.
same way, bro.
Not some.
Yeah, those are
Most.
yeah, those are two hit records, but that's not how you do that. That's not how you.
Right.
You don't.
and that was the thing. I mean, we it was such a brutal process for us because we felt that we're the same way.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like making sure that was cohesive, making sure the extra stuff that we added on top of the hit didn't get. It was all of that.
But it's also tougher when you have, like, if you got an artist that just gets in front of the mic and sings and just has the band, making those transitions and marrying those records together is way easier than having a performing artist that has 30 dancers,
Right.
4 set changes,
Don't forget the girl.
clothing changes.
Don't forget the girl on the pole.
Oh, the stripper pole.
Don't forget the girl on the pole.
Like, you have to build in,
Hanging upside down.
build in
was
time to
I
move
know, right?
this. You got to
Crazy.
build in
See?
time from the change. You have to
You're
like
right.
Student.
Yeah.
It's
Student.
so many different
moving
Still
pieces.
moving pieces.
And I think too, I've been on the stage with him for the past 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding the amount of time he needs to get out of his jacket, understand the amount of time they need to bring out the new rigging on the stage.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
all those pieces, right? And then they throw, they slap you with, you only got 75 minutes. How do we squeeze these hits in? And then there's changing. One of the things that Bob was always saying was, okay, once the train leaves the station and the show starts, he needs room to breathe again and take a breath. And
Yeah.
okay, so what's that body of music going to sound like? There Goes My Baby. We're going to play this.
We'll flip it, Lady
We'll
of My
flip it,
Life.
Lady
Right,
of My
we'll flip
Life.
it.
You walk off stage, and we hold the audience. Then you come out
that
and you're on
holds the
stage.
audience. It's
Yeah.
Lady in
Yeah.
My Life.
Yeah.
Of course it holds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and that's the
Therein
thing.
lies the genius.
Therein
Yeah.
lies the genius.
And
He's
Michael
Michael of today, right? So where do you go?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
what you'll find too is most songwriters and producers can't put a show together.
They don't.
right?
They don't know.
Most people.
what that
Beginners,
is.
right?
Most people can't
Most
put it. It's
people
tough. Putting a show together.
But
is
look at
tough.
our cloth, Jimmy and Terry.
Absolutely.
They're musicians first.
Absolutely.
They will rock a show first.
I am sure.
So
Play
I'm
from
church,
top
but
to
it's
bottom.
church too.
From
It's,
top to
It is, yeah. It's
You know
a
what I'm
hybrid.
saying?
Yeah.
And that's
It's
the
a
thing when
hybrid.
we seen because Adam Blackstone came to the show, he was
My
like, dude,
guy.
yeah,
you went to church, you went to the Midwest, and it was great because it was authentic, and we're sticklers. Like, no, don't try to turn that into something. You better not mess with that. And to hear Ush over some talk box was crazy.
yeah.
And nice and slow with the vocoder, trying to do some old Teddy, how deep is your love kind of vibe, and then still not take away from the record. I mean, like, to hear your guys' feedback about the concert for me is like, because I respect what your opinion.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I
It's
was
like,
like,
that's the truth
I
what
said,
matters.
Teddy,
Yeah.
come to the show. So Teddy came and he was like, wow.
We spanked Teddy so hard.
Bro, it's easy for all of us. It's easy to hate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We
artist
like
to artist,
natural born haters.
musician to musician. Like, that nigga's cool. Like, I like Usher. You know what I'm saying? His band. They could have.
Yeah, what are those? Right? Yeah.
It was set up for the hate to begin.
But that's the thing too.
That's the real though. That's the real
but-
conversation.
yeah, but
And it
as
was-
killers, you know who's coming.
Listen,
you know who you want to inspire.
I've seen it 6 times.
That's dope.
He's really went to the show.
I needed to see it 6 times.
Yeah.
I said, this is out of control. Same way I did with Justin Timberlake 2020, and
it was like show.
Certain shows I had to certain dynamics and certain marriages of musicians and artists and stage, like certain things you just got to internalize just all the way. Got to audit it all the way and then say, okay,
I like that.
Let me steal some of this.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I can't afford. Let me steal. Let me steal the pieces I can.
It's levels, man. It's levels.
Justin, you think I can borrow that? No, don't worry about it. Won't fit in the venues I'm in.
Let me get that pyro machine. Can I take that?
Just one. If I get one of those.
Right.
But that was what I was getting to was my most recent moment of seeing you guys at work, and you guys are still doing high level. Cooking. You're still cooking.
Well, man, when you love it, you
I mean, even when you hate it, you find a way.
Find a way, man. Yeah. If you could do it at all levels.
But it's still the love, even within the hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when you really love something, you accept everything that comes along.
Absolutely, that's it right there. Man, that's powerful.
When you really love
powerful.
it,
it all comes back to the woman, right?
Always.
Way to bring it all the way back.
We always say, like, music, like Terry, we all say, like, music doesn't like pressure. And every now and then, that lady, man, she's gonna, she might say, you could take me out tonight, and don't call you for a few months. That's music. Like, you just, we keep chasing her, chasing her, and then, like,
music is a notorious ghoster.
Notorious.
Shows up when it wants to.
She ghost rides everywhere.
I called you. I text you and called you like 5 times. Like, you're not gonna pick up.
Like, what about yesterday? Like, we just
everything was good.
As soon as you're done with her, you get a hit.
It was good.
And
literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
You stop calling, she call you.
Yeah.
You ain't calling me no more.
Hey.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We could do this all night because you have that kind of catalog, you have that kind of pedigree,
special,
and you're still active volcano, liquid hot magma. As we speak about the current, as you are current, you have current records out.
Yes,
there's a record called Glue.
Yes, sir.
Sticky Icky
by Usher.
Nasty record.
By Usher.
That is climbing the charts. Had a conversation with Sean Garrett.
What up, Sean?
The great Sean Garrett, our brother. Love him, man. That's my bro.
That's my guy. I love Sean. Sean was like, I just find it suspicious. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy that, you haven't got on your piano and got on your Instagram and sang Glue. I don't like
it. Go, Sean. I love it. That's my man.
I said, don't play. I said, do you think that that's on purpose? I just got back from tour. He said, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I just don't like it. How did that record come? Just give me a quick spill on how that record
came. Man, John was booking the studio in Vegas, and Lil Jon.
Yeah.
And so he was like, man, come on out. And Sean Garrett's gonna be out here. So whatever we come up with, he's gonna write. So he's like, do you know Sean? I was like, yeah, I met Sean before.
We worked with him a couple times.
So we fly out, and me and John are messing with some ideas, and then Sean gets to the studio, and he comes in with like, yo, man, we got to do this one for Usher. And it was like, I really kind of wasn't in that space either. I just like want to get together and write. And when Sean walked in, we hadn't seen each other in like maybe 9 years. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of the, oh my God, Bobby, Sean, man, dude. And so it was like, the first thing we did was this kind of concept that he and John had. And I was like, cool, that's just Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So I said, engineer, get the piano. And I'm not using these plugins. Get the real piano, mic it front, back, boom, boom, center, put it in the middle of the room, take it from what I needed to have some space.
Yeah.
And I started playing, and John put the groove together, and it was like, I cut it in like 10 minutes. I did one pass, went, got the bass, got the tones right. I said it needs a signature sound. It's got to have some guitar. Let's like take him out of that comfort zone, and did some Minneapolis on it. And Sean had a melody, and Glue was birthed like in 45 minutes.
Is what it is.
Yeah, about 45 minutes, and Iz came to the studio. That was the next day?
Mm-hmm.
So Iz came in and heard the record. He was like, crazy, and developed. LA wanted strings and all kinds of stuff, and us killed the vocal, and it became Glue.
Yeah.
And
Terry was like, it needs dynamics.
And then Terry called Sean like, yeah, it needs dynamics. And, Terry's like, all right, man, my boy's on it. So I'm going to tell you what you need. And it pushed Sean, and he got an incredible vocal performance out of Usher.
For sure.
Yeah.
And at a time, too, I think that record for him, he loves performing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's different for him, but it's got musicality and it's not too musical.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the hybrid that we have with John. It's like you get that simple sensibility, but then you also get those dynamics. And I think the chemistry that we have together is like, it allows for it to be something like Glue. And you would never think like Lil Jon,
I would.
You talked to him, you sat down next to him, and he courted you on the show, so you would know.
He definitely walked me through it. But I understand his musicality.
Yeah, you know exactly where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And before that, I think, because we were in a space, we had just did a record called A Hardworking Man with Snoop and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Snoop and Billy Ray Cyrus.
And Billy Ray Cyrus. And it's a record me and my brother produced.
And Billy Ray Cyrus. Snoop is the greatest of all time.
Oh, he's out of here.
He is, for sure.
He's out of here.
He can do anything you want.
He does anything he wants. And it works.
And he got the best Instagram page.
He does.
He has
Snoop
the best
Dogg
Instagram page, bro.
is not out of place.
And it's funny,
any
bro.
room,
In any room.
in the world.
Bro, he can never do too much. Like, more, give me more. And
More
when you
Snoop.
think it's like, he's all over, and it's like, he's talking to Stephen A, talking about the Lakers
Snoop
and
loops,
the game.
y'all.
Snoop loops. He got cereal. He got cereal.
Snoop
He's
Loop.
crazy, man.
Shout out to
And-
Snoop Dogg
shout
and
out
Master
Snoop,
P
man, big
for
bro.
bringing home some cereal.
We love you, big
We're
bro.
bringing home some
They got the Snoop loops, man.
We love you, big bro.
Yeah, I mean, that was another labor of love. DJ Quick actually mixed the
Mixed
record
it,
for us.
He
he
mixed
mixed
Glue?
He mixed
Billy Ray
the
Cyrus
Billy Ray
Hardworking Man record. Yeah,
Quick. Shout out to
Quick.
DJ Quick.
Crazy.
Genius.
That was another record or track we had just kind of sitting in the can. And we said from day one, like, this joint it's gonna need like some characteristics, the right artists, the right vehicles. And then a couple of years later, that moment presented itself, and Bob had a vision. It was like, Billy Ray, Snoop, man, this could be it.
It's just
Billy Ray Snoop.
You just come up within your mind.
Yeah, because you can reach out to those type of people.
My Rolodex is crazy. I'm gonna.
I call connect the dots, put it together.
Call Snoop,
And now we're here
and then
talking about it.
I call Billy Ray. Both
the real story.
of them a pickup. When I call, and they both picked up. But put them on a three-way, and just show up. Just come to the studio. I got this thing, and it fucking happens.
And it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you never do anything by yourself. I think a lot of the resources and the relationships that we put together, man, it just, Snoop really came from FKO Presents, a promoter who promotes an incredible amount of shows, a part of Snoop's army.
Yeah.
It's like, the thing is, again, concept, right? So if you have a vision and you can see something bigger, you pull in the resources to help make it what it's supposed to be, and you give them the credit, and you win. Michael Jordan had Pippen.
Absolutely.
Shaq had Kobe. Kobe had Shaq.
And Phil.
And Phil. Like, it takes a team.
Yeah.
And that's,
shout,
I think,
shout out to Kev, who helped really put that together. We got we got Snoop to come out to Nashville.
Yeah.
We shot the video.
White Boy Kev.
Billy Ray came out. So there's a lot of people that you don't really get to see their faces, but they move mountains, man. And we've been blessed to have those type of guys around us throughout our journey.
I also think too, what we like to talk about, and what is going to be like a running theme for us, is you guys are good guys.
Man, that's the key ingredient.
People like you.
Yeah.
People. It's not just music. It's the idea of people feeling safe and feeling great energy.
Yeah.
In being in those rooms with you guys, and that that moves mountains.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said.
I agree.
About
There's no good guys finishing last. No more in our scenarios.
Yeah.
Good guys are winning.
Yeah.
Because they're good guys.
That's real.
Yeah.
And that's a big piece of that, man. I want to
Well,
give
man,
you those
thank you.
flowers.
Man, I agree.
That means
thank you, man.
it means the world here. Trust me.
Don't cry. Hold on.
Go get that on
Wipe
camera.
him down, Iz. Wipe him down.
Hold on, man.
I'm in that bathroom again.
No,
man.
but
I'm in
you
the
know,
bathroom.
you're so right about that, bro. Because I think we're more than ever at where the road is at right now. I think we've lacked for so long just being able to work with good people and people that care about you, make money with people that actually care about you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the space we've now have come into is like, there's nothing better than winning with people that care about if you make it home at night, right? Like, hey man, have a great Sunday, man. Enjoy time with your kids. It's like you get to that space, man. It ain't even about the check anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the sense of peace and knowing my squad is with me and we take care of each other. Nobody feels like they're being janky or it's like, because you hear that so often, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you come from a camp and it's like, you hear the horror stories, man. Now you just want to move with good people.
That's it.
Yeah, just
in
move.
peace.
In peace.
And peace. Like, man, I called Terry or he'll call me and it's like we talk for
talk
about
to
an
Terry
hour. Like
every week.
his brother Jerome, Jerome from the time.
Of course.
And it'd be like, we just laugh. And I go see Morris in Phoenix and the time and Freeze and all the fellas. It's like, it's different, man. And to think like they were my heroes, and to be
now
able to
you're-
be in that space, like,
That's crazy.
and I can never get immune to it's like, he's still gonna be that Morris.
Absolutely.
To be like,
Yeah.
he's still that guy.
Yeah.
Like me and Elder Bar, it's like, man, the love that we have for each other. It's like, I remember being a little kid listening to, all this love at 5 years old, never thinking like,
I'm going to know this guy.
I'm
He's
gonna
going
know
to be
him
my friend.
and he's gonna be my
friend.
He's gonna be my
bro. Like,
friend.
Yeah.
that's the power of music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Power of music takes strangers in your life and makes them a part of your life. That's like the craziest thing, right? Music brought us together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good music.
Yeah, good music. Yes, exactly. There is a difference.
Yeah, that's my shit boy.
Speaking of good music,
I have friends that make trash music.
I do what I do.
I have friends whose music isn't the greatest, but I love them.
oh shit. And then he says, you should play it for Jay.
Because I love how those conversations go. Yeah, you ain't got it, gent.
You're right.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Look at him.
Warming it. Top 5. Your top 5.
Yes.
Top 5. Your top 5 R&B singers.
What else? What else they got?
R&B songs. Brothers, your Avila Brothers. Your brother is. I wanna know who's your. Yes. Yeah. Who's your top 5? Your top
Oh, okay.
5.
He got sexy at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. Give it up. Give it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's easy for us, man.
So let's see. Are you guys gonna
We split them.
break it and just
You wanna
split
split
it?
'em?
Because we're like-minded, man. We
okay.
we
You're-
breathe the same thing.
Here we go.
I'm gonna
Your
say
top 5
off the
Top
jump,
5
Marvin
R&B
and Stevie.
singers.
He
right
said
now.
Marvin and Stevie.
You kicked
Kicked
it off?
Marvin
Yeah,
and
I'm
Stevie.
kicking it off.
Okay.
Marvin and Stevie, hands down.
Jesus Christ. Aggressive.
Gotta go with Donny Hathaway and Felipe Wynn.
Ooh. Now y'all got to split one.
Nah, yeah. What's the Siamese?
Yeah, what's the yeah?
Bobby Caldwell.
Amazing.
What a voice.
Amazing voice.
Mm-hmm.
What a voice.
How long have
Timeless voice.
Timeless. And just how he moved with the chorus.
Oh, man.
You know, What You Won't Do for Love was written for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No.
And they turned it down.
I hear it.
So when you hear the,
Whoa,
you hear
right?
that?
I hear it.
Yeah, immediately, right?
And what you're hearing is
my-
the actual, that's the
the
demo.
demo.
It's a demo.
Whoa, it just gave me chills. Them singing. Them
man.
singing What You Won't Do for Love?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We don't hear them all. That's
Wow.
another thing we got to talk about at
Yeah.
some point. We don't hear them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 5 R&B songs.
Send One Your Love.
Hmm?
Send One Your Love.
Mm-hmm.
When Doves Cry.
Hey, he's shooting.
Yeah, he can't. He loaded
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
He,
he's shooting.
Yeah.
He's shooting.
just put his
The
things
cheat
back.
codes in his glasses lenses.
Yeah, y'all was first in tech, so we
You ain't no
right.
telling what's going across the screens on the
See,
inside.
it's R&B song, so I gotta, For All We Know, Donny Hathaway,
For All We
Bird
Know.
Flag. I love that
The
one.
patience on that record.
Yeah, just to be subtle on it.
Yeah.
Just take your time.
And I'd say the second song, got ants in my pants and I need to dance. James Brown.
You went to James Brown.
I'll take the fifth one.
Let me feel.
What's Going On?
Ain't no argument here. Classic song.
Yeah. And here's what's ill. When you get into our cars, that's exactly what we listen to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Day in and day out.
Yeah, some Knee Deep,
Knee deep.
some James
Burning
Taylor,
Ground.
some
You got to stay connected to that.
You
You
do.
got to have it in your
That's the
system.
best
That's the
information.
source.
That's
It's the source.
I went running the other day to Mint Condition, the Mint Factory.
Oh man.
I just had to have it. I had to get it in my body
Man,
just for a second.
when I hear So Fine,
I was like,
You know what?
what is wrong with you?
Stokely.
I flew to Vegas last week, right? It was last week. I got Ricky from Mint Condition tagged me on a post. And I forgot to tell y'all this, but when it wasn't on for me, the fellas who really took care of me and were gonna make me part of their production company and the artist, it was Mint Condition.
Wow.
And the love that we have for each other and that relationship it's like the crazy bond.
Wow.
And they gave me the strength to keep going. And those brothers right there, not only are they so bad,
Amazing guys, though.
but they're amazing human beings.
Yeah.
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 Yep. As you say that, it's like,
Yeah.
man, Stoke
guys.
and Ricky, Jeff and Larry, man, those man.
Study material for me.
Carrie
man.
Lewis, oh man.
So Fine.
Love them, man.
Study material.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Making your perfect R&B singer, the one you're going to sign and sell 100 million records with. Okay? Called this the R&B Voltron. We want to know who you're going to get the vocal from for that artist, the performance style for that artist, the styling for that artist, and the heart of that artist, the passion. Who are you grabbing the vocal from for your artist? You can collaborate. You can talk about it if you need to.
I mean, I would get I would say Bobby. I would say El DeBarge. I would get El DeBarge for just the passion and the nuance.
No, the vocal. We started the vocal.
Oh, we
Just
started the vocal. Okay.
Just the vocal.
the vocal.
See, I have to think relevancy too, right? How that vocal fits in relevancy too, because that's part of our pedigree. Is cloth, the DNA of where we're from, but also making
How it
sure that
connects.
we're in the right frequency.
You can tell some people that got hit records. I
mean,
they
listen.
start thinking of
Be
it
in the
different.
frequency.
Now, who's going to sound good?
formulas is what I like to
On the
call it.
radio.
Formulas.
Vocally,
Marvin Gaye.
I rock with you on that. Got to perform like Michael though.
Ooh, performance style. So you gonna give Marvin's voice and then performance style.
Yeah,
You gonna go Michael Jackson?
that would be unreal.
That'd be nasty.
Yeah.
That'd be nasty.
And then what's the next?
Got to be able to play an
The
instrument.
styling of the artist.
Oh, the styling of the artist?
Yeah. That's what we look like. We're gonna drip like.
Yeah, that's gonna sound a little crazy, but when you put that combination with like a Rick James.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So he's a
that,
player.
man.
He's a
player.
Listen,
Cat daddy.
listen.
Yeah.
When I was a young boy.
Hey,
Yeah.
all night.
Might show up in all leather.
When I came home last night,
Right?
Yeah.
you wouldn't even talk to me.
Yeah.
He got gears.
I like that.
He got
yeah,
gears.
for sure.
Yeah.
For
Rick
sure.
is nasty.
We're crafting a superstar. So yeah.
No,
Oh,
you're
no,
doing
yeah,
no, a superstar.
Yeah.
Superstar.
People don't give Rick his flowers.
Yeah, Rick was out there.
James, man.
Rick was a powerhouse.
He was. He was scared.
Vocally,
Too.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
vocally.
vocally he's a monster.
musician,
A musician,
the
Songwriter.
the drip, the tights,
yeah,
The character,
ladies,
the boots,
Yeah.
the ladies,
yeah, those,
ladies.
yeah, those. Yeah.
And he could write a song.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's gonna write and produce it.
And he was disrespectful.
And he was disruptive on 10.
Disrespectful.
Yep. Disrespectful is the right
level.
word. Yeah.
Habitual line stepper.
What?
Yep.
Okay, all right. The passion of the artist, the heart of the artist. You kind of alluded to it before, but I don't know if you want to change that.
It's got to be Prince.
Yeah. All or nothing.
Y'all
That's
were just
Prince.
telling stories about that kind of off camera about how competitive
Oh yeah.
and how much of a he had to
Fierce.
have fierce.
Yeah.
Fierce.
He was music. I
At
mean,
all costs. It's all
you know,
costs, man.
I have stuff in the vault that I got from him, like music that you'll never hear. I got how he did the walk, like just with Morris playing the drums and him playing the bass, trying to figure out that bass. Like he was it,
Yeah.
and he did everything with the time. It was all him. It was him and Morris played
Morris
everything.
on drums.
Wasn't Jimmy, Monty, none of them. It was all Prince.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Man, y'all. Hey, listen, man.
School baby.
To levels.
Hey, y'all y'all sick. Y'all are sick, bro. We're not done though.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Yeah. No, but we're gonna split these up too.
Oh, we're gonna split these
We
up?
need 2 stories.
We need 2 stories?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go. I got one.
Yeah.
music.
I love it.
Come on,
I
get
love
that-
it.
get-
What
I
up,
love
Twinkle Fingers?
I ain't saying no names. I ain't saying no names. I ain't saying no names. I ain't saying no name. Where you was, who you with, what you did. Don't say shit. You didn't hear from me. I ain't saying no name.
Hallelujah.
Very important segment of the show.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Well,
know. And we're gonna split it up. We're gonna have
Okay.
a Bobby version and an Izzy version. Because both of y'all have had long journeys and travels in this thing that we call music. And the name of the topic and the segment and the game is I Ain't Saying No Names. So your story
I
can
ain't saying
be
no names.
funny or fucked up. Or funny and fucked up.
mine's funny and fucked up.
Perfect.
Yup.
Only rule.
So we're gonna go first with Izzy's.
Let's do it.
I ain't saying no name.
You didn't hear from me.
I didn't say nothing.
Here's the key to my story. Campbell Soup's good food. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Man, we're in the studio working with an artist, doing a couple records. Hey, man, my friend just came through, man. Is it cool if he comes up? Oh, yeah, bring him up. We're vibing, we're chilling. We got all the gear in the room, so we kind of have it set up like we can jam at any given moment. Me, Bob, Terry, Big
No, hey,
Jim.
you can't-
No. They're
say
cool.
names.
They're cool.
Okay, they're
cool.
safe. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. They're safe.
Yeah, they're cool. They're
They're
safe.
safe.
Yes, they're safe.
It's easy. Let them.
Safe.
All right.
All right, cool, man. We're 5 minutes, all good. Bring him up. Comes on up. We're like, oh, what's up, man? All right, hey, man. You know, we're just sitting here vibing, man. All right, cool, man. Hey, Bob, play something. Hey, Iz, man. Hey, man, come in here and sing something, man. Come sing. My stomach hurts. Your stomach hurts, but you can sing, man. Come on, man. Come vibe with us. I don't feel good. My tummy. For real, man. Bob, get up. Why are you under there laughing? Get up, man. Bobby and Terry Lewis over there just busting a ball. And we're like, yo, you ain't gonna jump in here and just sing, man. We're all vibing. It's freehand. My tummy hurts. Hey, man.
If you knew who it was.
Remember, the key to my story. Campbell soup's good food.
So do you think they were scared to sing?
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was something in his tummy or he just didn't want to sing. But it was weird and soft.
It was weird.
Just think how I'm acting it out.
Hey man, it's weird and soft.
Listen to me.
I'm
Stomach hurts.
I'm done. I'm done with you. We're done with you. That's enough for me, young man.
Yo, but what was even crazier was my brother's literally on the floor under the console dying.
That's great.
And Terry's like, get up, Bob, get up. Stop, Bob, get up.
I can't. I can't.
Tummy hurt.
There's a few reasons why. You know, I'm not even going to entertain this. I'm not going down this road with you.
Because he's got no crazy in it too.
And trust me, we were hyped. We were like, oh, this boy could blow. Yeah, man, come vibe with us. So yeah, we you know.
I have eight jokes ready right now.
Get out of there.
Let's go. Let's go, Bob. Your turn.
Get out of there.
Okay.
Bobby's.
Okay.
I ain't saying no name.
Yeah. This one was very eye-opening. Mm-hmm. So we're in the studio. It's me, and it's Terry and Jimmy. And it was a very monumental moment because there's a guy who had this record that was amazing. It was killing. And so we found out he was on his way to the studio. So he comes by and Jimmy and Terry take him to the back, one of the back studios that we had. Had a conversation with him. He had a #1 record, booming. And one of our favorites, one of a lot of people's favorites. And Jimmy and Terry give him like that talk.
They saw him.
I'm going to tell you what to do, what not to do. And they have that conversation. They come out of the room. He says his goodbyes. And they said, I don't think we're ever going to see him again. And I said, really? No. We've seen a lot come and a lot go. You ain't going to hear from him. And we ain't heard from him ever since.
What they do to that boy in that room, man?
They gave him a dose.
And we ain't never heard from him.
The real pill.
And they were right. So when a wise man tells you, I've seen them come and I've seen them go. And when they say, oh, he's great. No, greatness is always defined over a period of time. They gave him the crown too quick. And guys who have been able to do it over and over and over and over again knew it. Blew my mind. I paid attention even more.
Wow. I got to know who that is. We'll talk. We'll talk later.
We never asked the guest who it is.
Yeah, we don't
worry,
find
guys.
Yeah.
You know you got motherfuckers gonna be in my DM. What they said?
Who was it?
Man, whose tummy hurt?
He was gonna tell me, but he drank the whole bottle.
No, I don't. Stay out of my DM. Leave me alone.
Listen, bro. Y'all are history, man. You guys are.
And you've done it over and over again.
Over, and you keep doing it.
Shit.
Shout out to your longevity. Shout out to just maintaining yourselves.
Yeah.
Maintaining your mental health, your physical health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throughout this journey, man. And shit, thank you for this love, man. Thank you for being on.
And honestly, on some realty, like, man, what you guys have put together here, just the experience of what it means for guys like us to just come chop it up and share stories, and just the camaraderie of what this is. Because at the end of the day, man, like, we needed this years ago, where we could just come break bread and chop it up as human beings, man. And you know, a lot of times the game has kept us so separated, you know, and
there's no governing body in music.
So
there isn't,
man. And we've been such fan of yours for a long time. I don't know how we've never even been able to link with you and just create and build together with you, bro.
That.
Just give him an MPC.
We'll fix that.
Just give him an MPC.
Let me text these folks. That's all he cares about.
That's it.
But
we will fix
all
that
roads lead back to the NPC.
And I'm going to tell you, you know, the reason why you guys mean a lot to us is because you guys are from the same cloth we're from. You know, the expectation of what excellence represents. That's all we've ever tried to do throughout our journey. And more importantly, because, you know, we're doing something that, based on our skin color, we shouldn't really be able to do as well as we do it. But what keeps us going is that the kids that look like us get to now think beyond what those limitations are.
100%.
You know, and, you know, to be embraced by you guys and your culture the way we have is a blessing.
Yes, sir.
And even though we've had to earn it and fight for it, but that's rightfully so. You know, you guys are a master of what this beautiful body of music that you guys have created throughout the years that we're such fans of and appreciate it and want to make sure we pay homage and, most importantly, do it the right way. You know, so to be able to sit in a room with you guys and for you guys to have always embraced us and welcomed us, it means a lot, man.
Yeah.
You know, and we
absolutely.
And because of that, we are sticklers for even our own culture that wants to embrace Black music and introduce it. Oh, we're hard on them. Yeah. Because you have to do it in such a way that's excellent, that represents excellence, you know? So thank you guys, man, you know, for making us feel a part of the family.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Y'all are family.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah.
Like man, I used to look at videos. We shared the same stage with the school tours.
Yeah.
Like,
crazy.
The early grind.
Back then?
Back then, yeah. And the thing is, it's like, that's what I say, like the ones who know, like, know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't fake it and make it in this thing. No. You either have it or you don't. And he's still pretty. Look at him, man. He's still.
I'm not looking at him.
I'm not. You still look the same way.
You do, bro.
Man, like, that's how you know the game did beat him up.
Yeah.
And you know they'll look at me like, "Damn, Bob, like, what do you eat? What are you putting in your face?" Like,
what are you putting in your face?
I have. Whoa! Oh, pause.
A bald beaver.
Well,
we need a camera right here. Pause. We need camera. Pause.
Oh yeah, there.
Pause again.
Pause.
Super pause.
Well, you know, you got Botox and plastic surgery. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. It just came out. It just came out.
Bob lays a bald beaver on his face every morning.
I just have too much fucking in me because I don't take myself that serious. I take the art and music serious, and didn't let it beat me like it could have. Now I got some battle wounds, but thank God I'm still here. Like we're still here, still right? Like, you know, at the end of the day, I just want him to say, "Good, like well done, good faithful servant, man. You did what you were supposed to do with what I gave you."
Okay, so for the people at home that are watching this, Avila Brothers, or Avila Brothers.
You know what, man? We used to be sticklers for that.
No, let's be a stickler right now. Let's get it. They better.
Avila.
La.
Ah.
Not la.
La.
Avila.
Yeah.
La. I've been saying it wrong my whole life.
Avila.
Because I've known these guys forever.
So not, but where I'm putting the accent is
Avila.
Avila.
Yeah.
Is it or Avila?
There you go. Oh, yeah.
It's on the A.
You say it better than me now.
Avila.
Yeah.
He's Spanish, bro. He's Spanish.
The Avila Brothers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh. That's got so much money attached to it. Listen, my name is Tank.
I'm J Valentine.
This is the R&B Money Podcast, the authority on all things R&B.
Yeah.
Our brothers.
The Grammy winners.
Hermanos.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hermanos,
That's right.
yes.
Yeah, the Grammy winners, the first Latin Grammy winners in an
to
urban space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Come on. I know.
Easy.
I heard about
Bobby. The Avila Brothers.
That's right.
Serio.
That's right.
Thank you, sirs.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for having us, man. Thank
for
you.
having us.
R&B money.